Let spirits rise in the West. Eskimo ancestors of greatness, Warren Moon, number 12, Tom Wilkinson. To Jason Maas, a motivation which speaks of Edmonton's gleaming football heritage. In Calgary, there was once magic in Flutie. Jeff Garcia gave them guts and glory. Heroes who made the people swoon. History is not lost on Marcus Crandall, who believes he too can trigger a stampede on the road to the Grey Cup. One never tires of confrontations deemed to be classic, so it is on a brilliant blue day that Alberta, indeed all of the West, braces itself for the Stampeders and Eskimos. Commonwealth Stadium has drawn 40,000 plus to the watershed of the season. Rivals so rare, Calgary and Edmonton, for a chance at the coveted cup. Hello everybody, welcome to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton and the Western Final. Scott Russell, these two teams met 3 times during the regular season. The Eskimos won 2 of 3, and they were high-scoring affairs. And guess what? Travis Moore is back for the Calgary Stampeders, so you would think that Marcus Crandall would go to him and the air game. But how about the ground game in this one? Features 2 great runners. One is Ronald Williams. Since coming over from Hamilton, he has been a kick, and he brought with him a Grey Cup ring, one in 1999. And Kelvin Anderson, he's got 2 Grey Cup rings, and he's also the West nominee for the most outstanding player in the CFL. In the Western Final, the Calgary Stampeders and the Edmonton Eskimos have met a total of 9 times. The Eskimos hold the edge 5-4, but this is too close to call. Ready to go to work, Mark Lee and Glenn Suter.
Thanks a lot, Scott. 2 young quarterbacks making their first starts in a Western Final today. Jason Maas of Edmonton and Marcus Crandall of Calgary. Maas is a sophomore. He's a live wire. Likes to live dangerously, Glenn, and he wears number 12. That's legend Tom Wilkinson's old number, and he says he's well aware of the tradition and mystique with which he'll play today.
It's been fun watching the evolution of Jason Maas throughout the season. A lot of highs and lows for him, a lot against the Calgary Stampeders. An all-time high with his confidence on Labor Day, only 5 days later to throw an interception to cost his team the game. He has learned from all of the highs and lows, and that's why he's prepared for this game.
Marcus Crandall got his playoff start initiation off to a good start last week.
Well, he finally has had a team to lead. He has the highest completion percentage of any quarterback in the Canadian Football League during the regular season, and this is personal for him. Remember, he was not the Western All-Star. Jason Maas was.
And great news for him. Wide receiver Travis Moore is back after missing 6 weeks with a dislocated toe, but what kind of shape is he in today?
Well, it's a small toe on his left foot. The first day of practice during the week, he didn't look very good. He was limping on it, but in the last 2 days of practice, he really recovered and was running as well as he could considering the circumstances. The question is, what about his conditioning?
And his old teammate Jackie Kellogg has been great since being cut by Calgary.
Hey, I talked to Jack Kellogg about 30 minutes ago. He had his game face on. He's had it on for 2 days. The challenge for Kellogg will be to control his emotions. He's walking about a foot off the ground right now.
This is a fierce rivalry, the Battle of Alberta. How about your game notes, Glenn?
Well, for the Calgary Stampeders, they have to have balance in their offense, and that means Kelvin Anderson. About 70% of his yardage has come in the first half. They need to give it to him all game long. The Edmonton Eskimos have Ed Hervey, and that is their deep threat. If they can take them out of that deep threat, they have a chance. And if they do that, that means that Jason Maas will have to be patient. He can't force the ball deep if it's not there. And defensively, if they take Travis Moore out of this game, they will strike a psychological blow against the Calgary Stampeders.
Here we go again. Edmonton and Calgary for the 7th time in the West Final in the last 10 years, Scott.
Weather is made for a football game today, boys. 3 degrees Celsius. That'll drop with the sun. The wind is negligible. Won't be a factor in this one. Halftime, we'll have highlights from Winnipeg. The Blue Bombers are going to the Cup. Don Whitman, CFL Scrapbook, and Brian Williams brings in Danny Barrett. Michael Clemens for analysis. We're ready to go in the West. Mark and Glenn.
Right you are, Scott. And a huge crowd estimated at more than 40,000 here today at Commonwealth Stadium. The veteran Wally Buono. Tremendous tremendous career in playoff action, although coming into this game for the first time with a losing record, saying this team had learned to scrap. And for the first time, the rookie in the playoffs in the head coaching position, Tom Higgins. And what an improbable first-place finish for his team after the coaching change, losing Don Matthews, the quarterback change, and a rash of injuries. The Eskimos are here in the Western Final. Sean Fleming, who tore his knee apart 2 weeks to go in the regular season, is wearing a brace and will kick today for the Eskimos, and we're underway in the Western Final. Antonio Warren has it for the Stampeders at his 20, hit hard immediately for a short gain. Terry Ray limits the return to 7 yards as Marcus Crandall, wearing number 1, comes out for his first Western Final start, and he is motivated after not getting a chance in 3 seasons here in Edmonton.
Calvin Anderson, the Western nominee for Outstanding Player in the Canadian Football League, will run the ball from the backfield. We mentioned Travis Moore is back in the receiving corps, and that is your offensive line. Childress and Rayam on the tackles.
First down, Stampeders. Just across the 27. Shotgun formation. In the air they go. And it's Travis Moore in the first pass of the day. And he's wrestled out of bounds. Just shy of the first down.
Defensively, the front 7 is led by the linebacking core. Up front, it's Doug Peterson. He's the heart and soul of that defensive line, and it's the linebacking core in the front 7 that gets it done, led by Terry Ray in the middle and Singor Mobley, the weak side linebacker.
And that secondary with Quincy Coleman, 25, replacing Shannon Garrett. He's never played a down in the CFL. Will there be a target on this young man today?
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch the secondaries from both teams, because at the safety position is the only place that either team have any playoff experience. Jack Kellogg has 8 games. On the other side, Greg Frères has 12 games. And after that, there is 0 playoff experience in either secondary here this afternoon. That will be something that we'll have to watch for.
So can Jackie Kellogg hold together this young secondary, ranked second last in the CFL this season in passing yardage per game? Kellogg, of course, 5 interceptions, 2 for touchdowns since joining this Edmonton team in early September. It is 2nd and 8. The big team is in for the Stampeders. 2nd and 2, rather. The gain was 8 on first down. Handoff up the gut, and it's tough going.
I'll be very close. I think they're going to have to bring out the sticks and measure it early. Might be the first decision for Tom Higgins early in this, Wally Buono early in this game to decide whether or not he should gamble.
And the sticks will come out. As Buono looks on, and they are short by about a football.
Well, you watch that Eastern Final prior to our game, you know that 1 yard or even 6 inches isn't a guarantee.
Anderson coming off his 4th best all-time Stampeder season rushing, but look at the last 2 games. He's been a force, and they will gamble. The Stampeders on 3rd down and less than a yard here on the opening series of the football game. Crandall up behind his center. Drysdale. He'll sneak and have the first down for Calgary.
Great drive by the offensive line. The key in a situation like that, when it's short yardage, you know it's going to be quarterback sneak. Everybody in the park knows that. But the key is how low can your offensive line get. If the line gets lower than the defensive line, they get those pads down and get good drive like they did behind Jamie Crysdale, the center. The first down should be automatic.
Jay McNeil, the Western All-Star, with tremendous push to help with the first down for the Stampeders. Anderson, the only man in the backfield. Crandall looking deep downfield for Moore. Double coverage, and it's incomplete. Going after the rookie Quincy Coleman with support from Jermaine James.
Well, Jermaine Jones got back. He came off his man to help out the rookie Quincy Coleman, and the safety on the play was Ralph Staten, who was also watching for Coleman. You know one thing, that they're going to go and test Quincy Coleman. This is his first game in the CFL, very close to pass interference there on Travis Moore, but they will test him early to see if he can hold his own. So far, 1-0 Coleman.
the last 2 years on the practice roster with the Chicago Bears, but no CFL experience. Second down, 10. Stampeders. Crandall with time. Deep again. Wide open is Kamal Peterson at the 35. It's a foot race to the end zone. Touchdown, Stampeders. "72 yards. Crandall.
Jermaine Jones slipped on the play.
Young man who was the 6th pick in the first round for the Stampeders, who couldn't believe, quite frankly, that he was still available when they went for him. And he strikes a big touchdown early for Calgary.
Well, it starts out for Marcus Crandall because he has time. He can wait. Jermaine Jones slips. Ralph Staten is locked in from the middle of the field at the safety position. He can't get over to stop Peterson. It's a broken play because Jermaine Jones slips on the turf.
Mark McLaughlin with the point after. It's good. And just as you thought, Glenn, the Calgary passing game testing this inexperienced secondary in Edmonton early with big results.
Hey, bro. You need a hand with that thing? Yeah. Just bring it on. Ah, there you go.
The Dodge Dakota offers best-in-class cargo and payload.
Woo! What is that? You can put your arms down, you know. That'll be good.
How would you like to curl up with a nice, thick instruction manual about water softeners? Me either. Life is just a little too short. That's why Culligan created the Worry-Free Water Program. Here's how it works. They do all the work, you don't. All you do is call Culligan, and the Culligan man takes it from there. Hey, Culligan man. So don't just order a water softener. Order a Culligan man. Call Culligan, and let somebody else worry about your water.
Check out all our limited-time specials. Call your local Culligan man today.
CFL on CBC, the road to the Grey Cup, brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns.
Kamal Peterson with a 72-yard touchdown pass and run from Marcus Crandall. And the CFL's top scoring offense lights it up early on the opening drive.
Yeah, I talked to Mark Boerichter before the game. He said they're going to test this young secondary. They get the first down gamble. That was the gamble from Wally Brano on third down. And then on first down, it's Kamal Peterson taking advantage of Jermaine Jones, who had slipped on the play. He was on the turf. Peterson was wide open.
It's Winston October dropping this kickoff from McLaughlin. Picks it up, crosses the 30, gets a seam, still on his feet. Finally, a shoestring tackle from behind stops an ominous-looking return from Winston October. 31 yards. Kelly Lockbaum got him from behind.
Well, when you throw the big play to Kamal Peterson, you don't need a whole lot of plays in your drive to have success for the Calgary Stampeders.
Peterson savoring his big touchdown, 72 yards. He'll keep that ball as a souvenir.
They only needed 5 plays.
The Eskimos go to work on offense, and they'll go on the ground. Ronald Williams runs into traffic, puts his head down for 3, maybe 4 yards up the gut against that big front four.
Well, Daniels will provide the blocking protection for Jason Moss, and Ron Williams the balance in the offense. Terry Vaughn and Ed Hurley, the big play receivers in the core.
The 2 leading receivers, Vaughn and Herbie, as you mentioned, and the only all-Canadian offensive line in the CFL this year. They'll face a big test against this front four from Calgary. Movement on the scrimmage, no. Flags are down. The pass to Terry Vaughn is complete and very close to a first down on that 2nd and 4 situation.
Talking to the Edmonton Eskimos, they will pay special attention to Joe Fleming on the defensive line. In fact, Ron Williams will stay in to help protect and double team Fleming. When they get Fleming, they have to deal with that core with Elijah Johnson, the 14-year veteran, the leader.
And then the secondary with 4 ranked rookies surrounding the veteran Greg Frères.
So what they'll do is leave Ron Williams in the backfield on passing downs as long as they can to watch for Fleming. They may double team him.
First down play action for the Eskimos. Downfield looking for Chris Brazel. Incomplete. There's a flag. And that will be pass interference as Ricky Bell got just too sticky with Chris Brazel, who joined this team on the last week of the regular season and had a big one against Montreal.
Mention the inexperience in the Edmonton secondary. Well, Calgary Stampeders are facing the same situation. Ricky Bell gets the penalty playing in his first playoff game in Canadian football and is basically just screening. He did not look back when the ball was in the air, and he gets the screening call. Also, inexperienced secondary. After Greg Frères, no one has played a playoff game.
On the ground, Ronald Williams running hard over the left tackle, then collared in the backfield. The ball's down, but they've blown the play down.
And then to make matters worse in that secondary for Calgary, they've had to move Joe Barnes out to the corner because Anthony Pryor is out. So when you look at it, Greg Frères had 12 playoff games under his belt. After that, in that secondary, 0 playoff games of experience, and you know Jason Moss knows that as well as I do.
Ronald Williams coming to this team August 27th after being cut by Hamilton Tiger Cats Ron Lancaster.
There you go. That tells the story right there. His 12 games, all from Greg Frères.
2nd and 6 from the 19. Moss with time to look over the defense. It's complete to Ed Hervey. Here comes Joe Barnes. He won't catch him. Touchdown, Edmonton Eskimos. Ed Hervey on a 19-yard pass and run. And both high-powered offenses answer with touchdowns on their opening drives.
The play is called an over and under. Ed Hervey was the under, and he just used great speed to go right across the field and outrun the coverage of Joe Barnes that had to run 65 yards to try and stay with the speedster.
Hervey, the number 2 receiver in the CFL this year. That was his 13th touchdown of the season. As Moss holds, the point after from Fleming is good. And the aerial attack we expected is unfolding in the Western Final. It's 7-7 early in Edmonton.
Introducing the next great Jeep idea, Jeep Liberty. Full of innovations and legendary capability.
And now? Your eyes are fine.
Nature has never seen anything quite like it. Jeep Liberty.
Next.
Oh, yeah. Wow, goody. Yeah.
The crack is back at Pizza Pizza. DVDs, PlayStations, video games, $10 off games, free rentals, and 2 Ford Focus ZX5s.
Hey, the next one is mine. Dude, keep eating.
Just crack the cardboard for your chance to win.
Okay, I get the next one.
Playing Cowboys.
2 great concerts are coming to Windsor. Direct from Newfoundland, it's the musical comedy of Buddy What's-His-Name and the Other Fellers. November 25th at the Chrysler Theater. Call the Chrysler box office for tickets. A side-splitting tribute to America's greatest clown of all time, Red Skelton, as portrayed by Tom Mullica. February 25th and 26th at the Capitol Theater. Call the Capitol Theater box office for tickets. Tickets would make a great holiday gift.
Glenn, you said off the top of the broadcast that Jason Moss has to be patient, and he was on that last one.
Well, he had to be because Ed Hervey had lined up to the wide side. Ed Hervey is outside here. He's going to come all the way across the field. Hold it right there. There's Hervey in a chase position. Right there is Joe Barnes. He cannot make up that much distance when he has to cover 65 yards of football field. Hervey outruns it and is in the end zone.
Antonio Warren has the short kickoff, the CFL's all-purpose yards leader is finally hog-tied as he reaches the 45-yard line. A 50-yard kick from Fleming and a 19-yard return from Warren.
Interesting that both teams offensively are attacking the secondaries, trying to go with the big play. Calgary to Kamal Peterson, and then on a shorter pattern than just allowing Ed Hervey to use his speed, Jason Moss answers, and this could be a shootout. I'm looking forward to this one.
Both drives 5 plays. This one for Edmonton covering 63 yards in just over 3 minutes. And the big touchdown catch by Hervey. Here comes Calgary. Play action. Here's pressure. It's delivered and complete to Travis Moore at center field.
Now this is where you start to wonder about Travis Moore. He's going to take a few hits, something he hasn't done for 6 straight weeks. He's going to be out there for every offensive play. How is his conditioning after missing 6 weeks?
Glenn, he was admitting that he doesn't have the pop right now in his takeoff. How do you think he'll, go through the whole game?
Well, that's what he's going to have to really suck it up. I mean, it's on his toe. It's still bothering him. He told me don't say anything until the broadcast starts, but it's about 70%.
The gain is 11 yards on the catch by Moore. A first down for the Stampeders. Here's Crandall in the air again. In traffic, it's complete in front of Singor Mobley. And it looks like it's Moore again. And he may have been eye gouged on that one, Glenn.
Yeah, I think Singor Mobley, I don't think he meant to, but as he went to tackle Travis Moore, Moore was going down. Mobley with his left hand tried to wrap him up, and as he did, he got his finger in the face mask of Travis Moore because Moore went right for his eye. Oh, he's got his contact lens. We've got to straighten out the contact lens. You don't want your receivers without the contacts in.
You don't want them cross-eyed out there looking for a ball in traffic, and Moore will come to the sidelines to get an adjustment. And with that catch just shy of the first down, Mobley, of course, leading the Eskimos in tackles this season with 87. And there's Moore on the bench trying to get the contact lens back in. Here's how it happened.
Well, Moore had just run a little curl pattern, and he was stepping up, but he kind of lowered his shoulder when Mobley came across to tackle him. I don't think Mobley did it on purpose. He had that right hand in there, and of course, Mobley, when he saw Moore go for the eye, he went right down to assist him. And you can see Travis Moore trying to get that contact lens straightened out.
Second and less than a yard, Stampeders. And they'll sneak, Crandall will, for the first down as they move deep inside Edmonton territory. Crandall, of course, looking so motivated, Glenn, coming into this game. We talked earlier in the day how he'd been overlooked here in Edmonton, even when they told him it was his job in 1999. And then Nealon Green was brought in by Don Matthews and given the job before training camp.
In the semifinal, completed 65% of his passes versus the BC Lions. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
And he lit it up in week 3 against the Eskimos. Back to pass. It's Crandall deep downfield again. Danielson has it for the Stampeders, and another huge first down at the Edmonton 20. Vince Danielson, sure-handed first down type receiver. He'll get you those clutch catches. And once again, they go after Coleman.
Yeah, Calgary Stampeders trying to layer their receivers. They send Mark Boerichter deep to influence the safety and then get the one-on-one with Quincy Coleman, this time on Vince Danielson. So all the patterns for the Calgary receivers so far early in this game are down the field. They're trying to stretch that young secondary.
First down, Stampeders, as they approach the red zone. On the ground, it's Kelvin Anderson, hit right at the line of scrimmage by Robert Brown, limiting the gain to 1, maybe 2.
Even though it's just 1 or 2, it's still important to involve the run game. You have to keep Kelvin Anderson involved, even if he's just getting 1 or 2 yards. If Robert Brown, Doug Peterson, Albert Reese, and Steve Anderson know that you've eliminated Kelvin Anderson from your thought process, they will go after Marcus Crandall.
Crandall 5 of 6 so far in this game for 121 yards. It's just the second offensive series for Calgary. Here's the blitz. It's in the air. Touchdown. Calgary Stampeders as Vince Danielson hits the end zone.
Jack Kellogg is upset, and I think he's upset with his teammates. There was confusion in the Edmonton secondary.
2 straight drives, 2 touchdown passes for Marcus Crandall.
Occasionally, you will blow a coverage, even if it's a playoff game, and you've played all season long. The question is, will Marcus Crandall, the quarterback, recognize the mistake and find the open receiver, Vince Danielson? Crandall got it done.
The point after my McLaughlin is good. You say open receiver. Wide open receivers for Calgary as they go up 14-7 on the touchdown by Danielson.
On a routine reconnaissance mission, Lieutenant Chris Burnett saw something no one was supposed to see. On November 30th, behind the courage.
They killed my pilot. Let me get him.
Behind the honor.
I'm not going to let that kid die out there.
You will lose your command for this.
So be it.
Owen Wilson. Gene Hackman.
Gentlemen, I intend to put you in harm's way.
The truth lies.
We will bring you home.
Behind Enemy Lines. November 30th, only in theaters.
Introducing new MSN eShop. All the retailers you want, all the comparisons, all in one place. It's like having a mall at home. Holiday shopping at msn.ca.
Vince Danielson overcoming a hamstring injury at midseason. He's been a clutch down the stretch here for Calgary.
This is Mark Boerichter. He's going to go deep. This is Vince Danielson going right down the middle. Watch Jack Kellogg get isolated on Boerichter. He gets no help from the backside from Jermaine Jones. That opens up Danielson, and that's why Jack Kellogg was so upset with Jermaine Jones after the play. He needs help from the backside.
Here's Winston October, and he goes nowhere. Good cover from Roger Reinson, the #1 special teams tackler.
When you're playing zone defense, Mark, you got and Jack Kellogg is the deep defender in that situation. You all have to be together. There's 3 deep defenders. Jermaine Jones was one of them. Jack Kellogg was the other. Vince Danielson knew Kellogg had to take Boerichter, so Danielson saw Jermaine Jones was gone and sat right down the middle. Crandall found
another 5-play drive for the Stampeders, and already 141 yards passing for them. Eskimos first down. Jason Moss rolling, throwing to the sidelines. Quincy Jackson has it in front of Kelly Malvo and is pushed out of bounds.
There's just so much talent on the field when you look at the receiving corps. It's Travis Moore, Boerichter on one side, and then on this side you got Quincy Jackson, who's come into his own this year. Terry Vaughn. I mean, this is the guy who revolutionized the yak yards after you catch the football. Ed Hervey, the speed man for the Edmonton Eskimos. There is just so much talent out on this field right now. The quarterbacks must be just, their eyes are like deer in the headlights right now.
Alondra Johnson, as we look at the measurement, saying earlier this week that there's no way Edmonton can sustain drives against us. Well, this will be a test here as they start deep in their own end, and they have the first down on the catch by Jackson.
Alondra Johnson saying that because they're going to play conservatively. They don't want to give up the big play, the big deep ball. So Alondra Johnson saying if they're going to do that, they're going to have to be patient. Can Jason Moss be patient? That's what we'll see.
Here's Moss, the sophomore who loves to have the ball in the last minute and has played his best games this year against Calgary. Pitch out. Ronald Williams outside, and he's driven out of bounds by Otis Floyd for a short gain.
Timing didn't look right on that play offensively for the Edmonton Eskimos. Ron Williams needs to hit that one a little bit faster so he can get outside of containment. In that case, it was James Cotton. Because the play took a little too long to develop. See, Ron Williams got that ball a little bit too deep and then just ran out of room on that sideline.
Gain is 1, 2nd and 9 as Moss faces this fearsome front four from Calgary. 29 sacks along that line of scrimmage. Ed Hervey on the short side by himself. Moss goes to the wide side to Quincy Jackson again, and he's drilled at the 45-yard line. And will be short of the first down. Ricky Bell on the tackle.
Well, it's Tom Higgins' decision time. He's taking a very long look at this third down situation, but it's 2 yards, and I think he will send out the punt team. Quincy Jackson underneath the zone coverage that we talked about Calgary playing, and they'll play a lot of this afternoon. It's about 1.5 yards short. I think Tom Higgins making the right decision to play for field position and punt the football.
So 42-year-old Hank Alisic, whose career has spanned 4 decades in the CFL, back to punt.
7 Grey Cup rings for Hank Alisic.
This man played in the 1970s.
That was 15 his rookie year.
Hank gets a high spiral away. It's Antonio Warren at his own 27, breaks 1 tackle, finally brought down as he crosses the 32-yard line. A 37-yard punt by Alisic and a 6-yard return.
Shop online from the convenience of your own home, and you can get Canadian Tire money too. It pays to shop online. CanadianTire.ca.
Last 2 games between these teams decided in the last minute and by 1 point. Real thrillers, Glenn.
Well, you can look at the Labor Day game. That's the game that Jason Moss, with less than a minute to go, drove Edmonton down the field for the winning field goal.
Play action, naked bootleg by Crandall. Here's pursued from Coleman. Crandall gets it away. It's intercepted. It looked like it bounced off the Calgary receiver, but it's ruled incomplete.
Scott Regenball went down, and I think that ball did bounce off the turf. The officials waved it off immediately. Regenball grabbed his knee. Pressure up the middle from Doug Peterson, and then on the blitz from Quincy Coleman, he forces a quick throw, and there's Peterson knocking the ball down and hit the turf and bounced up to Kellogg.
What's the defensive tackle doing in coverage there?
Just sliding to the rollout is what he did. He saw the play action happen and just slid across to try and get in front of the throwing lane.
Regenbald, the sophomore out of Houston, still down as Peterson paces the line of scrimmage. He has had another tremendous season.
Western
patrolling
All-Star.
the line of scrimmage. Western All-Star, 5 sacks, 56 tackles, number 3 on the team this year. And he is known to raise his game at playoff time.
Yeah, and he's led the team in fumble recoveries with 3 on the season, and that means he's around the football. I mean, whether he's sacking quarterbacks or, like you see, knocking the ball down in a pass, he's around the football.
And Quincy Coleman with his first big play of this game after being attacked by this Calgary passing game. It is a 6-receiver set. The Stampeders introduced this formation in the early 90s. 2nd down, pressure, Crandall scrambling, gets a quacker away, and it's incomplete, intended for Travis Moore. He must have lost his grip.
Great disguise by the Edmonton defense. Jack Kellogg was up on the line of scrimmage, looking like he was going to cover. Ralph Staten also on the line, looking like he was going to drop. On the snap of the ball, it all changed for Marcus Crandall in a hurry, and he had to make a quick decision. Here comes Ralph Staten. Now, he took the wrong angle and got beat to the outside, but it forced the quick throw. In the meantime, it looked like Travis Moore would be wide open, but the Edmonton Eskimos dropped back into coverage. Nice disguise there from that defense.
And for the first time in this football game, the Stampeder offense stopped. They'll punt for the first time. Duncan O'Mahony back. Look at the shifting going on along the Edmonton side of the ball. Looking for the block. One man back. It's Winston October as O'Mahony gets this one away. October at his own 26. Straight up the middle, breaking 2-3 tackles, puts his head down, and is finally brought down at his own 44-yard line. October with one back for 113 yards and a touchdown this season on the punt return, deciding to return to the CFL and not go back to his old team in Montreal. As Ed Hervey comes back on, one big touchdown the show for the first half so far in this football game. And of course, Terry Vaughn, the leading receiver in the CFL for the first time since 1999. 2 players in the same team leading in receiving.
And they combined for over 2,900 yards, and then you throw in Quincy Jackson. That's the talent we're talking about that's on the field for Jason Moss right now.
Here's Moss, handoff to Williams against the blitz, and that did not work. Big James Cotton, the rookie out of Ohio State, sticking his nose in there.
Yeah, they're called run blitzes. And what you try and do from a defensive perspective is fill all the gaps. The gaps are between the linemen. It's just the natural gaps from where they line up. And if a defender is in every one of those gaps, there's no place for Ron Williams to run the football. And James Cotton was in the right gap.
Loss is 1 on the tackle by Cotton. 2nd and 11, a test for this young Calgary secondary.
Here comes Frères.
Here's some movement. Flags are flying, and it looks like the Stampeders might be called. Ray Jacobs was in that 1-yard zone.
I think Ray Jacobs was spooked because Greg Frères had come down from the safety position to blitz.
Offside. Calgary number 84. Still 2nd down.
See, Jacobs jumped, but he was spooked by Frères. Frères tried to time it up, and he was running towards the line of scrimmage right up here at the top. So he ran towards the line. He got right up in there beside Ray Jacobs. That spooked him, and he jumped offside.
5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down. About 6 to go for the Eskimos. Moss in the shotgun in a 5-receiver set. Pocket closes on him. He'll run for his life. Drops the ball. It's loose. Stampeders have it. It's James Cotton recovering for Calgary as the quarterback put it down.
You have to applaud Jason Moss' courage to run up in there and not try and slide, but he's got to protect the football. He carried it out there in one hand as if he was trying to throw it, and then once he started to run, he didn't put it away. Watch how it's in his right hand and just swinging around freely. Then he slides it to the left, and watch there, it's punched out. Be alert if you have measured, it might be double click.
Perfect grip. Yes. Here come the Stampeders. Crandall. Pressure. He's sacked. Doug Peterson with his 6th of the season.
And this is half to Doug Peterson, half to the coverage. That coverage right now for Edmonton, they had some problems in the first couple series, but watch this. Crandall has time here. He has time. He looks, and then he's got to go backside, and that allows Doug Peterson to get there. See, Jack Kellogg had blitz on the play. He was up there, the first guy to be able to celebrate with Doug Peterson.
Peterson making his presence felt. Coverage sack of Crandall. 2nd down and 10. 15 now, the loss. It's complete to Bo Richter, and he'll have a Stampeder 1st down with his first catch of the afternoon.
Nice patience from Marcus Crandall there to, after seeing a couple of different looks from the Edmonton defense, he didn't panic this time, sat back in the pocket and waited for Bo Richter to find the hole in the defense.
19-yard gain for Bo Richter, who had 2 touchdown catches last week in the Western semifinal against BC, one of them for 69 yards. He has been the go-to man during the absence of Travis Moore. 1st down, Stampeders. On the ground, Kelvin Anderson, gaping hole right through the middle, still going. And he'll be close to another 1st down. A gain of approximately 10 yards as the first quarter gun goes. The Stampeders with a 14-7 lead and threatening to add to more here in Edmonton.
There you go.
The Dodge Dakota offers best-in-class cargo and payload.
Woo! What is that? You can put your arms down, you know. That'll be good.
Benzene, formaldehyde, hydrogen cyanide, carbon monoxide.
tar.
These chemicals and many more are found in the smoke from regular cigarettes and those labeled light and mild by the tobacco industry. It's a deadly brew, no matter how you label it. It's time to see cigarettes for what they really are. Light and mild, deceptive and deadly.
A message from the Government of Canada.
The CFL on CBC, the road to the Grey Cup. Brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns.
Edmonton head coach Tom Higgins spent 9 years in Calgary as an assistant coach with Wally Buono. Buono this year saying it may have been his most frustrating season, with a young team that has had to scratch for everything it got, including making the playoffs in the final week of the season.
Situation Wally Buono has not been in throughout his time in Calgary. Usually sitting in first place are the Calgary Stampeders at this time of the year. Well, after 1 quarter of play, you can see by the passing yardage for Calgary that it's the Edmonton secondary that's reeling a little bit early in this game. Both secondaries inexperienced, but the Edmonton secondary the one that's reeling right now.
And Crandall has been good on 70% of his passes so far in the first half. Stampeders threatening to add to their lead. First down on the Edmonton 12. Play action rolling right. Crandall in the air. It's complete to Kamal Peterson. Touchdown Stampeders. Peterson with his second of the game.
Crandall sharp. Calgary Stampeders go with the formation they call the bunch formation, and they 90% of the time run from it. Change things up. Went with the play action pass. Kamal Peterson has his second touchdown as a result.
Rookie receiver who stepped in during the absence, Travis Moore, became one of Crandall's favorite targets, and that chemistry continues here this afternoon in the Western Final as Mark McLaughlin puts the point after through, and it's a 21-7 Stampeder lead early in the second quarter.
Well, this is from the bunch formation, and Edmonton, thinking run, are caught up in the line of scrimmage. That's why Kamal Peterson is so wide open on the play. Jack Kellogg scrambling to try and help out. Kellogg is right here. He had to cover a long distance and got caught in the mix, trying to get out there to cover Kamal Peterson. Can't get there in time.
Wally Buono says Peterson will be something special in this league in the years to come. And the Stampeders are disproving a statement made by one of their former teammates earlier this week when Terry Vaughn said the Calgary coaching staff gets uptight at playoff time and the staff makes the players uptight. Stampeders to a man yesterday protesting that, and they're delivering here today.
Yeah, I talked to them, a lot of them before the game, and they said, I don't understand why. We really have nothing to lose here. Edmonton thinks they're the favorites. Everyone's saying Edmonton is the favorites. We're just coming in here and as the underdog to see, and we're relaxed. See what happens. They look relaxed right now, top of their game.
Now Peterson with 2 touchdown catches, and the Stampeders are on the rampage. Winston October fielding this kickoff at his own 20, gets a seam, now a full head of steam. Here goes October putting his head down at center field. A 56-yard kick and a 38-yard return. And it looked like Kamal Peterson was the man who lost his hat on the tackle.
Yeah, it was. Kamal Peterson ends up being the safety. He lines up wide, but he's the safety on the play. If October beats everybody, he's the last guy to make the tackle. And he was the nail, not the hammer, on that hit.
Winston October trying to fill the shoes of the gizmo in the kick return department as Peterson checks with medical staff. Here's Jason Moss throwing deep to Quincy Jackson. There's some bumping. It's incomplete. as Kelly Malvo goes one-on-one with Jackson.
Well, Kelly Malvo was a favorite target for the BC Lions. They went after Kelly Malvo, and he responded. Played pretty well. He moves to the halfback position. He's played linebacker this year for Calgary. He's played a little bit on the corner. And again, no playoff experience for Kelly Malvo, so pretty good position for him there.
Quincy Jackson was here one day at training camp, was sent home with a bad wrist, and 9 weeks later they called him back when Tez McCorby blew out his knee. 2nd and 10. Eskimos. Sideline pass to Ed Hervey is complete right at the first down marker.
They'll continue to use Ed Hervey in that fashion early in the game. Short passes to the out. We saw his touchdown was just a quick under pattern where he ran across the field, but was only about 6 yards deep. The reason they're doing that is to try and lull Joe Barnes into thinking that all Ed Hervey's going to do all game is run short patterns. Well, you just wait. Ed Hervey will take off and go deep anytime now.
Hervey with 2 touchdowns and 170 yards receiving in week 3 against the Stampeders. Here's Ronald Williams now sidestepping a tackle. Then he is hit by a host of Stampeders and driven back. Not where they mark this one, Glenn.
Just like Kelvin Anderson, Ron Williams is very important to this Edmonton offense. And again, it comes down to balance. Ron Williams is also a big play guy when it comes to playoff time. We've seen what he can do for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the past at playoff games, and in the Grey Cup game, he's racked up a ton of yardage. So he's very important. Look what happens when Edmonton runs the ball. When they run it well for 132, they win 9 games. It drops almost in half in their losses. That's how important the run game is to them.
2nd and 6. Hand off to Williams. He'll have the first down on that draw play up the gut.
The numbers often don't lie, and when you run the ball for over 130 yards, you win the game. When you run the ball for less than 100, you lose. Jason Moss understands that. That's why on a 2nd and long in this situation, Ron Williams is not a bad call.
And a bit of a mix-up on that call, too, as Moss hesitated before putting the ball in the hands of Ronald Williams. The gain was 7 and a first down. And the Eskimos have called a timeout.
Well, Moss took one look at the Calgary defense, turned around and looked at his personnel, and I believe he just decided we don't have the right personnel and the right play called for the defense I'm looking at.
Well, is that a smart move for a young quarterback when he is confused?
Absolutely. You're down 21-7. You have the ball in scoring range right now. Don't make a mistake at this point that could cause a turnover. You get 1 timeout per half. They're precious, no question. But I think if there's any confusion at all, you call the timeout. That's exactly what Jason Moss does.
And on the sidelines, there's Jackie Kellogg up to the defensive spotters as this secondary tries to come to grips with a prolific Calgary passing attack. Quincy Jackson alone on the near side. First down, Eskimos. Back to pass. Moss goes to the sidelines. Chris Brazel has it in the sunshine. Steps aside a tackle, and then is very close to a first down.
I asked some of the players about Chris Brazel. A couple of years in Dallas, and they say he is the real deal. We talked about Joe Fleming and his influence. Here's what Edmonton has had to try and do to control Joe Fleming. You see how they've got Chris Morris there working with Tim Baker to try and help out on Joe Fleming. Make sure they get 2 big bodies on Fleming and keep him out of that backfield.
Fleming, number 4 in sacks this year in the CFL, but Brazel has limped to the Edmonton bench, and young Scott Robinson, the rookie out of Simon Fraser, is in. 2nd and less than a yard. Extra lineman in for the Eskimos. They'll hand off, and Ronald Williams will drive into that pileup, and it looks like he may have enough for the first down. Chris Brazel, Tom Higgins told us yesterday, is a game-breaking receiver. As you mentioned, 2 years in Dallas. Had a big game against the Alouettes in Week 18 with 3 catches for 76 yards.
Well, because of the injuries the Edmonton Eskimos have had to go through this year, they've had to bring in a lot of different people, and that's when you get a chance to see some of the newcomers, and Brazel is one of them. But I have never seen a team go through as many injuries as Edmonton has this year.
And 15 players on the 9-week injured list, 8 of them knee injured situations. Here's Moss throwing in and out of the hands of Quincy Jackson that hit him right in the numbers. Oh, a costly drop for the Eskimos.
Otis Floyd may have distracted him just enough. It looked like Floyd almost had his hands on that football. Quincy Jackson, another one of the guys that has filled in because of injuries in the Edmonton lineup. You see as Floyd almost had his hands on that. Quincy Jackson came in for Kes McCorvey when he was injured early in the afternoon.
9 weeks into the season after he left training camp, failing his medical with a bad wrist. 2nd down, 10. Here's the blitz. Moss gets the ball away. Terry Vaughn's got it! And he's driven out of bounds with an Edmonton first down.
Oh, the veteran, Terry Vaughn. You've got to be kidding me. Perfect concentration, but I like what he does before he gets the ball on Ricky Bell. He never, ever lets Ricky Bell think the ball is on its way. Moss recognizes blitz, but Terry Vaughn at the last second sticks his hands out to catch that football. He waits till the last second so he doesn't tip off to Ricky Bell that the ball is on its way. And by that time, it's too late.
It's a 20-yard gain. First down and goal. Edmonton at the Calgary 3. Moss handing off to Ronald Williams. Puts his head down. The ball's loose. Fumble. The Stampeders have it. Oh, what a turnover as Alondra Johnson celebrates. Otis Floyd has the ball for the Stampeders in a major turnover for Edmonton. Forces the 2nd Edmonton fumble of this first half.
Whenever you leave your feet as a running back on the goal line, you take a gamble. The gamble is that you lose control of your body. You're not sure what's going to happen when you're in the air. Frères jumps in there. Willie Fells is also in the middle of that pile. And Ron Williams is rocked.
Williams and Jason Moss have put the ball down. There's Crandall using the uprights as a blocker. It's complete to Travis Moore, and he's gang tackled by the Eskimos.
Marcus Crandall had to throw the old wraparound there to get that one around the goalpost.
That's the name of the game. Bounce back. All right, Ronald Williams not rattled by the fumble.
Ron Williams has been in a few playoff games. He's not worried about that. And watch how he had to. Marcus Crandall there deep in the end zone, had to kind of throw that one around the goalpost.
The 13th man out there. First down on the connection to Moore. As Calgary tries to dig out of its own end. Crandall audibling. Option. Shovel to Anderson. Lots of room for him. And another first down it looks like as he's drilled just shy of the 25.
But see, even if the Calgary Stampeders right now, if their drive ends right here at this point on the field, this is a win for Calgary. They had Edmonton right down inside the 5-yard line. They get the turnovers. They've got a little breathing room now, even if they punt the football here. I mean, obviously it's first down. They're not going to punt it on first down. But if their drive ends right here, at this point in the field, it's a victory.
Back-to-back first downs, Glenn. Stampeders on the ground. Kelvin Anderson tries to cut back against the grain, and the outstretched arms of Doug Peterson wraps him up.
All right, well, now it's on the secondary for the Edmonton Eskimos. They have struggled a little bit. Doug Peterson has been involved all afternoon in this game. We saw him having knocked down a couple tackles. It's caused Marcus Crandall to throw it early, but he needs to get back there and force Crandall to make a bad decision. This secondary in Edmonton right now is scrambling.
Crandall in a 2nd and 8 situation. Some trouble, steps up, gets it away to Peterson. First down and more for the Stampeders as Marcus Crandall continues to show his veteran poise here at quarterback.
Yeah, and that's a good word for it, poise. I don't think I've seen all year Marcus Crandall play with as much poise as he's playing right now in a game that means so much. You see how Steve Anderson had a chance and he's not rattled by it. He sidearms that out to Kamal Peterson. Finally opened up and was really the only Calgary receiver that was open.
Peterson continuing to be the go-to receiver for Marcus Crandall. Third first down of this drive. Play action as Crandall drops deep and throws deep downfield for Bo Richter. There's Jackie Kellogg. Bo Richter shoved him from behind. There's no flag, although the official has put his hat down to mark the play at the 20.
I think he had already thrown his flag. So this is the second flag for the official. They're running out of clothes. Is it going to be shirts all the ground? And, well, we won't go there.
There's hankies everywhere.
But, yeah, he threw his flag right around the line of scrimmage, then followed the play and threw his hat where the ball ended up.
Well, it was clear that Bo Richter jumped Kellogg. Here's Jake Ireland with the call.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Edmonton number 25.
That's the first penalty.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 89. Repeat first down.
That was the second penalty.
So the penalties cancel themselves out as Big Bo throws his weight around deep downfield.
Well, again, they were trying to layer those receivers. Here's a look at the second penalty. There's the right hand on the back of Jack Kellogg. He had the best position at that football. Bo Richter may have saved an interception there.
First down repeated. 10 to go. Stampeders. Hitch pass to Travis Moore. Jermaine Jones ties him up for a short gain. Second down. Jones, perhaps the fastest man on this Edmonton defense with 4.38 speed over the 40.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you said Edmonton, I thought when you were going to say Edmonton roster, because Ed Hervey may have an argument there. He can get down the field. But yeah, Jermaine Jones can run, no question.
Gain is 2. Second and 8. Shotgun formation. Crandall with time, gets it away. It's complete to Peterson again. He spins across the first down marker and has dropped it about the 53-yard line. Be right at that first down marker. Peterson having a career game here in the first half. 2 touchdown catches already.
Well, you're going to play a lot of man-to-man. Peterson already over 108 yards. These crossing routes can be awfully tough to cover because you're running all the way across the field. And we saw Ed Hervey with his touchdown on a very similar pattern. The way you stop plays like that is to play more zone so that you're staying in an area rather than trying to chase after the guy all the way across the field.
First down, there's the option again. It's Antonio Warren now subbing for Kelvin Anderson, and he gets to the Edmonton 50-yard line. Some pushing and shoving in front of the Stampeder bench. This rivalry heats up, although it's been a dignified rivalry over the years.
That's an unbelievable drive for the Calgary Stampeders when you consider where it started. The turnover, Greg Frers and Willie Fells with a big hit on Ron Williams. He turns the ball over on the doorstep, and now Calgary is marching a first down away from field goal range.
Eskimos had it first and goal on the Calgary 3.
And that is demoralizing for a defense.
Second and 2 on this drive. For Crandall and the Stampeders. He'll pass. There's the blitz. Gets the ball away to Peterson. Or rather, Danielson with the catch, and flags fly in the secondary.
Well, that pocket collapsed in a hurry. And it collapsed right on the lap of Marcus Crandall.
Danielson going down for the
Forward
ball.
pass interference. Calgary number 88. Repeat second down.
He pushed off.
You know, Glenn, that's his game. He likes to get up in the face of the DB and push off to get away from him, and that time it cost him. He won't beat you with his speed, but he likes to beat you with his physical toughness.
Receivers like to push. Defensive backs like to pull. Try and keep the receiver as close to you as possible. Doug Peterson coming off the field to get a well-deserved break.
Stampeders with a 6-pack. 6 receiver set. Second and 12. Blitz. Hitch pass is complete to Kamal Peterson, and he's tripped up. The rookie, Quincy Coleman, makes a big tackle to stop this drive.
It's a huge play because Quincy Coleman, I believe, had to duck under Fred Childress, who had got outside there. The big boys were leading the show here. Watch Childress come out on the block. Two big offensive linemen, and they get a body on Quincy Coleman, and it is over. You see, Childress just missed him as he tried to get out there. If Coleman gets his big body at 333 and gets Childress' body on him, it's over. He snuck underneath it and made the tackle.
So Duncan O'Mahony will punt for the Stampeders. His longest this year, 63. He comes in with a 42.4-yard average. Winston October is the lone man back for the Eskimos. That one nearly blocked by Jackson. Here's October dropping the ball on the fly. Flags are flying, though, and it may well be no yards against the Stampeders. Pilon has the ball. They're grappling for it on the ground. But it looks as though the Stampeders were inside that 5-yard restraining zone. October is still prone on the turf here at Commonwealth Stadium after taking a ferocious hit on this return.
Kelly Lockbaum was covering this punt, and you're going to see Kelly Lockbaum's helmet right off the right knee of Winston October. That was helmet to knee at full velocity, and October hung on to the football in that fight at the bottom of it. But watch the hit on his knee. Pow, right there.
Wow, and the pain, you can see him writhing right after the impact. Winston October is hurt, and this poor Edmonton team has been vexed by injuries. 15 players on the 9-game injured list.
Well, look at that. Peterson, starter. Asman, starter. Cunningham, starter. McCorby, Perry, Gass, all starters. Rob Herod was the extra receiver early in the year.
The Eskimos lucky to have a great personnel man in Paul Jones, who has picked up replacements as October looks like he's up and okay. Nealon Green into the game now at quarterback. Hands off to Williams up the middle, and he rambles for a first down.
See what Nealon Green does just by his presence as he spreads out the defensive line. Because Ron Williams had room to run up there because the defensive line is worried about Nealon Green running to the outside. So they have to spread out a little bit. That'll open up the inside of the running lanes for Ron Williams.
Eskimos like to do this in the second quarter, bring in Green because of his running ability to change up the look of the offense. Chris Brazel back in the game. It's a quarterback draw for Green. And he's tackled shy of the 35-yard line for a short gain. It'll be second and long. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Scott.
Right, guys, just talked to Dr. David Reed and Dr. Boris Boyko of the Edmonton Eskimos, and they tell me that Winston October got a good bang, but he's fine, and he'll go back into the football game. No problems at all, no concussion, nothing like that. That's from the Edmonton Eskimos doctors.
Good news for Edmonton and their fans. Winston October joined this team week 12. He's not seen the Calgary Stampeders as an Edmonton Eskimo.
Second and 8. Green with time, pumps once, lots of time. Downfield, Ed Hervey wide open. He had to stop, though. There's Joe Barnes on the tackle with some help from Greg Frères, but Hervey was wide open. The crowd of more than 40,000 at Commonwealth has new life in Edmonton. Elon Green.
Remember what we told you, Ed Hervey on the quick out, Ed Hervey on the crusher. Hold it there, guys. Look at this. Ed Hervey. This time, he doesn't go short. Joe Barnes gets caught with his feet in the ground in cement. He falls down, and that opens up Hervey. Joe Barnes was thinking another short pattern.
Hervey's got a touchdown if that ball's thrown deeper. Play action. Green throwing to the wide side. That's Winston October back in the game at receiver. He drops the ball. Stampeders say they've got it. The third fumble turned over in the first half to the Calgary Stampeders from Edmonton, and Ricky Bell's got it for the Stamps. With the fumble for Edmonton, that's the third straight series stopped by fumbles.
Well, it's the second effort from the Edmonton Eskimos that are causing the problems for them. William Fields pulls it out of there in Winston October, who was trying to fight for extra yards. The same scenario for Ron Williams when they were down in the previous series. Trying to get up over the top, fumbles the football.
Ricky Bell, the rookie out of North Carolina State, with the recovery for the Stampeders, who go to a 5-receiver set here. 3 ugly turnovers for Edmonton in the first half. Crandall pumps once, wants to go deep down the sideline. Coverage from Jones. It's Travis Moore incomplete.
Jermaine Jones played that almost perfectly because he turned back to the football just as it was arriving. Had great composure at the point of attack. It was a pump fake to try and get Jermaine Jones to jump up and see if Travis Moore couldn't sneak in behind him. Watch how he turns around at the back of that screen. Shows great composure to knock the ball down.
Jones not biting on that pump. Look at the second down averages for the Stampeders. Here they go again. Downfield, deep for Bo Richter. He's got it at the 50 on close coverage. Terry Carter was right there step for step, but the big man used his back to shield the ball.
Mark Bo Richter told me to watch for this play prior to the game. The reason being is that Ralph Staten, the safety, has a tendency to hug the hash here on this side of the field. When he does that, it's too far to him to go all the way across to the opposite side hash mark to try and stop that seam pattern. He said watch for it. There it is.
35-yard gain by Bo Richter. And a Calgary first down as they move across center field into Edmonton territory. Crandall still in the shotgun. It's intended for Moore, and it's complete in front of Quincy Coleman, the rookie inside halfback.
Well, I just can't emphasize enough how Marcus Crandall just looks so composed in the pocket. He's put some nice drives together. He's dominating when it comes to time of possession, which will pay dividends in the fourth quarter for his defense. Saw Coleman and Travis Moore get up and do a little trash talking.
Look at the numbers for Marcus Crandall. 15 of 19 for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns with 1:47 to go in the first half alone. Here's Crandall again in the air. It's complete to Travis Moore. He's got a first down, and Moore finally brought down as he crosses the Edmonton 20.
Do you think Marcus Crandall doesn't take this game personally?
You're right, Glenn. He was unwanted here. 3 years he played in Edmonton, never got the chance to be a starter, and now he's making good with the opportunity in Calgary.
Well, yeah, in the first 3 years he was here, you could say he was developing, but that last year was just the way the rug was pulled out from underneath him when Nealon Green arrived. It just wasn't right.
And Green has been good about the changes he's seen this year with Moss taking over. Here's Crandall scrambling, using his athletic ability for a first down, and more diving out of bounds. Marcus Crandall using his arm and now his legs to pick apart this Edmonton defense.
There were
a first down.
3 or 4 times that Marcus Crandall could have just pulled the chute on this play and thrown the football up into row 8. I mean, I'll show you here. There's one right now. The protection is breaking down. Throw it up in the stand. No. Throw it up in the stand. No. I'm composed. I'm okay. I've got a little running room. Why not pick up the first down on my own?
First down, goal to go. Stampeders ball on the Edmonton 6. 6 receiver set. Crandall in the air again. It's complete to Travis Moore. Touchdown, Stampeders. The veteran back.
Oh, baby.
And with a big touchdown. Travis Moore hitting the end zone for the Stampeders, and you can hear the jeers now emanating from Commonwealth Stadium as this Calgary team has had its way with the Edmonton defense.
Marcus Crandall all year has played pretty well, but he has had problems finishing drives in the regular season. It seems like he has solved the problem. He looks like Jeff Garcia this afternoon.
Is he ever? Point after from Mark McLaughlin is right through the uprights, and with 1:09 to go until halftime, it's the Stampeders leading 28-7.
And you know, one of the reasons could be for Marcus Crandall is that when you get Travis Moore back in your lineup, it gives you that much more confidence, knowing that in certain situations, Moore will find a way to get open, even if he's only at 70%, 75%. Again, another crossing pattern that Quincy Coleman just can't run down.
This Calgary drive starting after the October fumble. The Stampeders have 14 points off 3 turnovers. And it was Tom Higgins who used the... Oh, there's Jackie Kellogg heading for the sick bay and the locker room here in Edmonton. That's a bad sign for this young secondary.
Well, he looks like he's limping a little bit, favoring the left leg. We'll see what happens with Jack Kellogg, because now there's very, very little experience and less now with Kellogg out of the lineup. He was the only guy in that secondary with playoff experience. And you can see what Marcus Crandall has done on the scoreboard, even with Jack Kellogg in the game.
I was going to say that it was Tom Higgins who used the word yesterday, jinx, as the division leader this year. 11 times in 14 years, the first place team has not won the Western Final. Here's Quincy Jackson for the Eskimos, who find themselves in a hole, trailing by 3 converted touchdowns here in the first half. Here's Scott on the sidelines.
Right mark coming up at halftime from Commonwealth Stadium here in Edmonton. We'll have a look at Don Whitman's CFL scrapbook. We'll also look back to the Eastern Final as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated Hamilton. They're moving on to the Grey Cup. And Brian Williams will have analysis with Danny Barrett and Mike Pinball Clemens, all coming up at the half from Edmonton.
I know Danny Barrett is just grinning down there thinking about the way Marcus Crandall's playing in this first half. I know he's a big Marcus Crandall fan.
Jason Moss back at quarterback for the Eskimos, in the air. Jackson again, dropping one right in his breadbasket.
He peaked. He peaked. Rule number 1. This is receiving 101. Make sure you catch the ball first before you look to where you want to run with it.
Jackson with 777 yards in basically half a season here in Edmonton, but 2 costly drops in the first half so far.
Now the key for Jackson is to have a short memory.
2nd and 10. Moss straight back, throwing deep downfield, right back to Jackson, and this time he makes the catch for an Edmonton first down.
Got to have a short memory.
And great sign from a young quarterback to show confidence in a young receiver.
And he was going there the entire way. Quincy Jackson was the primary target, even though Jason Moss had looked to his left to try and distract the defensive backs and maybe get them looking and moving that way. Went right back to Jackson.
Clock ticking, 49 seconds and counting. No huddle offense for Edmonton now. Across the middle, complete to Ed Hervey, heading for the sidelines, and the first down won't quite get there, and he pays the price as William Fields puts a lick on the lanky Edmonton receiver. And Moss looks like he's in pain. He's been banged up this year, Glenn, with a shoulder, a neck, a hand injury, and now he takes a seat at the center field in clear discomfort.
Well, with the depth of his drop on that last pass play, he had to get deep, and because of that, he was hit hard waiting to deliver the football.
Great numbers so far for Moss in the first half, completing 9 of 12, and it looks like the left arm as Nealon Green goes to work, warming up back on the Edmonton bench. But
well, that's the good news for the Edmonton Eskimos, is it's the non-throwing arm for Jason Moss, his right-handed quarterback. But see how deep he is. And that's why Ray Jacobs and James Cotton really meet at Jason Moss. He had to hang in there to deliver that throw to Ed Hervey.
Moss, Jacobs, it didn't look like a devastating hit, but it got him right on that left arm.
And it seems like those are always the ones that hurt you. The big, huge highlight hits, usually both players jump up and are back in the huddle. It's the ones that look innocent that are often the most devastating, and it looks like Jason Moss will be okay.
Moss was saying yesterday he was glad to have the bye week to try to heal up after the game against Montreal. But he is tough.
You know, both offenses have moved the ball successfully. The difference is when Edmonton's been in scoring range, they've turned it over.
3 successive drives ending in fumbles. 2nd and short, about 1 to go. Green handing off to a diving Ronald Williams, and it looks like he could have it. The bottom of that pile as AJ makes the tackle. It is a first down for the Eskimos. They move the chains with 24 seconds to go until halftime, trying to salvage this drive. And get some points before they go into the locker room at the half.
Well, they are in field goal range now, but it would be a long one.
Green throwing. It's short and incomplete, intended for Hervey, as Joe Barnes made a move to try to intercept that.
You know, and that the tale of the turnovers have been an interesting one for the Edmonton Eskimos all season long. When you look at what they have done when they've controlled the football and not turned it over, they've had success.
18 seconds to go until the half. 2nd and 10. Eskimos. Green in the shotgun with time, gets it away to Jackson, makes the catch, and no! First they signal catch, then they wave it off. As he steps out of bounds, the other ref says it's in.
They're still discussing it. Well, I saw exactly what you did, Mark. There's two officials that both had different opinions. And for Sean Fleming,
there's Jake Ireland telling the Eskimos to keep it down as Jackson is flushed from this meeting. It's Andre Prue, the head linesman, who made one of those calls. Higgins expectant of the call. Green had signaled first down.
And the important thing is right now that they get it right. Even if it takes a few seconds here to go over there and discuss things and make sure that they get it right. Art McAvoy says he overruled. He said he saw the foot clearly in bounds. It was Art McAvoy in discussions there.
Art McAvoy, the side judge, overruling Andre Prue, the head linesman. Here's the call. You only need 1 foot in bounds. And it looked like the back foot, toe maybe just touching. So close, though, even close on the slow-mo replay. 13 seconds.
Surprising, but it was McAvoy that made the call from behind.
Into the end zone, intercepted. Kelly Malvo has it for the Stampeders on the goal line to snuff the 4th straight drive with a turnover.
The thought to take one shot at the end zone, I truly believe is the right one. Take a shot at it, but the throw and the execution is where the mistake is made. Kelly Malvo was in perfect position, and Nealon Green should have thrown this one up into row 2. Take a shot at the end zone. Why not? You're going to line up in field goal on the next play. But if your receiver is not wide open, then just throw it up into row 2. You get the field goal on team on the field, you get some points.
Instead, the Eskimos will go to the locker room, having turned the ball over on 4 straight drives.
Sorry.
Marcus Crandall takes a knee. The clock ticks down to 5 seconds. There's a stampede to the exits here to the concessions for hot chocolate and hot dogs. The fans are not happy at Commonwealth Stadium as the Eskimos have self-destructed in the opening half.
Football games are always determined by about 3 or 4 big plays, and it was all Calgary making the big plays in the first half.
The boos erupt at Commonwealth as the teams head for their locker rooms. At the half, the Stampeders have a 28-7 lead, and here's Scott Russell.
Okay, Mark, and here's Wally Buono of Calgary. How much of the composure of Marcus Crandall is due to the fact that he's got all his weapons back, what with the return of Travis Moore?
Well, I don't know why he's got composure, but today he's in the zone. I mean, he's having a tremendous game, and I think he has a lot of confidence in the guys that he has, and it's been a tremendous first half for him and for our team.
Will you put a premium on mistake-free football in the second half? You got the turnovers there in the first half.
Well, we got the turnovers because we made the turnover. That was a great play there by Kelly Melville, and you know, they're not giving nothing to us. We're making plays.
Good luck, Wally. Thanks.
Thank you. I'd like to say everybody hello at home, especially my daughter, Christy.
Way to go. Wally Buono of the Calgary Stampeders, and the Stamps have gone to the air for 4 touchdowns. They lead 28-7 over the Edmonton Eskimos in the Western Final as the CFL on CBC continues.
Stadium, a sloppy first half by the Edmonton Eskimos. You know, yesterday, Edmonton coach Tom Higgins was saying when he was in Calgary, Calgary was a lot more structured. He said it's much more relaxed up here in Edmonton. That surprised the Calgary players. I guarantee one thing, the more relaxed dressing room at halftime today belongs to the Calgary Stampeders. Coming up, Danny Barrett and Pinball Clemens with first half analysis and highlights. Earlier today, and I think The Ritchie team in Winnipeg, head coach David Ritchie finally getting some respect that he wanted as his Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated the Hamilton Ticats. With a report, let's go back to Winnipeg, and here's CBC's Steve Armitage.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers finished the regular season with a very impressive 14-4 record, but to a man, the Bombers felt they wouldn't get the respect that they felt they deserved until they beat the Hamilton Ticats in the Eastern Final. And it was the Ticats that struck first. Danny McManus to his favorite target, Darren Flutie, and that made it 7-0 on the opening drive of the first quarter. Then Jones hooks up with his favorite target, the veteran Milt Stegall. That covers 70 yards, 10-7 Winnipeg lead. But that wasn't the only long pass that Jones would complete. He goes to the youngster, Arlen Bruce, and that made it 20-10 Winnipeg, and that was with the win late in the third quarter. The defensive play of the game, from the 1-yard line, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers keep Danny McManus out of the end zone. And then Bob Cameron, one for the under 50s. The 47-year-old boots a 57-yarder into the wind, 21-13, a huge single point. But the defensive icing on the cake late in the game, Jerron Bolden stepping in front of this pass from Danny McManus, taking it into the end zone, and Winnipeg win it 28-13. They are still celebrating in Winnipeg. Let's get a comment from Milt Stegall.
It's been a long time coming. Not just for me, but a lot of guys who've been here since '95, and it's good for these young guys who just stepped up here to go to the Grey Cup. It's a great feeling, but I mean, we'll celebrate tonight, but after tonight, it's time to move on. We just don't plan on going. We're not just excited about going. If we don't win, it doesn't mean anything. We're back to square one. So we definitely going out there and winning this game.
Tell me about your touchdown. You read blitz, so did Kahari. It worked perfectly.
It worked perfectly. You know, it was actually it was a running play, and Kahari said he was screaming to me, saying, you know, get over and get over. He didn't have to scream to me. Once I see that coverage that they play, I'm going to take that chance and go to the middle. Kahari, he read, he made a great throw. It was the same thing we did before when I dropped the ball, but, you know, I just happened to have another chance to come back, and I was fortunate enough to make the play and score.
Do you think the Bombers are finally going to get some respect now?
I don't think so. We won't get respect until we win the Grey Cup, and if you don't respect us after then, that means you just don't like us anymore. But, I mean, you don't have to give us respect. You know, we'll go out there and earn it. We'll go out there and play hard and bust somebody in the mouth and score some points, and if you don't respect us then, it wasn't meant to be, and we don't really care about it.
So it's Milt Stegall and the Bombers who get the Dixon Trophy, emblematic of Eastern supremacy, and who head to the Grey Cup in Montreal.
See you in Montreal.
Don't believe it, folks. They get all kinds of respect. You know what? I think Stegall likes being the underdog. Up next, live from Edmonton, Danny Barrett and Pinball Clemens.
For 6 years, Ontario has worked to raise education standards. Now we want to know if these standards are being met. And the people we're asking are parents. We want your opinion on the new curriculum, the quality of teaching, safety at school, availability of extra help, and much, much more. Please take part in Ontario's first ever parent survey. It's coming soon in On Magazine. Help us make sure higher standards are putting kids first.
City Center, the heart of Windsor. City Center, the pulse beats faster. Our downtown, the heart of Windsor has more in store. The pulse beats faster at the core. So come downtown, 'cause there's more. Yeah, our downtown, the heart of Windsor. City Center.
The best spot for fresh fish in Windsor is at High's. High's Fish Market at the Market Square, and now our new location on Dougal where it meets the Olette Avenue curve. Fresh fish daily. Look at this lobster. Ooh, fresh lobster. Lobster. Seafood platters, fresh fish, and weekly specials too at High's new location on Dougal where it meets the Olette Avenue curve. If it swims, it's at High's.
Maloney is the quarterback. He's going
CFL Scrapbook with Don Whitman. Brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns.
The record for touchdowns by one player in a single game is 6 by two members of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Eddie James in 1938 and Bob McNamara in 1956. But 3 times the Bombers have had one player score 5 touchdowns against them in a single game. The most recent to do it, a player now in their employ. On September 15th, 1995, at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Eric Blunt was a one-man wrecking crew for the Eskimos. 5 times he crossed the Bomber goal line. First, on a 6-yard run. Then on this brilliant 60-yard punt return for a touchdown. And he wasn't. Next came a 9-yard pass reception for a touchdown. He followed up with a 10-yard run for a score, and then a 23-yard touchdown rush. With Blunt scoring 5 times, the Eskimos crushed the Bombers 64-10. 5 in one game against Winnipeg. Blunt would score only 7 more touchdowns over the balance of the season.
Thank you, Don. Sloppy first half for the Eskimos. We talk about poise and quarterback Marcus Crandall. Danny, you pointed out that started in the second half last week down in Calgary.
Exactly right, Brian. It's just a carryover from what he did last week under tremendous pressure. But here, poise in the pocket, finds a wide open Kamal Peterson. He outruns the coverage. And like Wally mentioned before, Marcus Crandall right now is in the zone. And you love to see quarterbacks in the zone, especially in the big games.
Now, it looked like a track meet early on because Moss comes right back to Hervey.
Came back right back and answered, and we saw that in the earlier matchup, in the Eastern Division matchup. The visiting team came out and scored, and then the home team came right back, marched down the field, scored. Here Ed Hervey catches a crossing pass, and he is fast. He can fly, crosses the end zone, and now it's a tie game.
You say he's fast. He was a track star at Southern Cal. Otto Bolden was at UCLA. Bolden won the bronze medal in the 100 in this stadium at the World Track and Field Championships. Rushing, because we're quickly running out of time, let's talk about turnovers. Big part of the game for Edmonton in the first half.
The difference right now, and what is done is cost Edmonton points. They had 4 turnovers. This was a huge turnover for them because the game would have been tied. Big hit, follows up the next drive. October, the ball gets away. Calgary again recovers the ball. What has happened, the 4 turnovers, 3 have cost them points, and really that's the difference in the ball game right now.
Michael, Wally Bono said yesterday he wants his quarterback not only to be poised but more athletic. We saw a bit of that.
We did see that. And Marcus Crandall, we said before the game, the quarterback that makes the best decisions is going to win this football game. And Marcus Crandall has made great decisions all day today. He said last week that he was going to play the game of his life last week. He played well enough to win, not the game of his life. The first half today may be the game of his life.
Well, he stepped it up today here in Edmonton. At halftime, the Calgary Stampeders with a big lead, and again, this game should be much closer were it not for the sloppy play by the Edmonton Eskimos. Second half coming up when we return live to Commonwealth Stadium after this.
You know, one thing you may see a little less of these days is suits. Personally, I'm back to them. Many of my clients, though, still like dressing casually. Professional? Sure, but casual. I help them with that. Putting the right things together so they'll look as well dressed as, well, the mannequins in the window. Of course, I leave the hair thing up to them.
Well made, well priced, well dressed. Moore's.
My hope is I find a career in something that I enjoy.
How do I get a job when everybody wants experience?
I have the degree, I have the will and the desire. Now I just need the opportunity to show what I can do.
There's so many things I'd love to do. It's hard to choose.
Canada's Youth Employment Strategy can help you make the transition from school to work. To get your free copy of YouthLink, a guide full of information on learning, careers, and employment, click or call today. A message from the Government of Canada.
Don't confuse the flu with a stomach illness. It's not about stomach aches or vomiting. The flu is a respiratory disease and could give you trouble breathing. It can be very dangerous. Catching the flu means 3 to 7 days in bed with high fever, chills, headache, muscle ache, and a cough. Some people end up in the hospital. The risks are real. The prevention is easy. Protect yourself, protect your family. Get the flu shot.
One more way we're working together for a healthier Ontario.
Welcome to Williams Food Equipment, where you'll find all your cooking needs. From stainless steel pots and pans by Citrum to all your non-stick favorites. Check out our top-of-the-line Cuisinart and KitchenAid appliances. We have the largest selection of knives around, from Henkel to Woolstock Trident to Global. Talk about selection. The Peppermill department is second to none. And if it's kitchen utensils you're after, look no further. The right tool for the right job.
We're Williams Food Equipment, truly a candy store for cooks. When it comes to serious cooking, we have more of what you're looking for.
Closed captioning for this program brought to you in part by X-Copper. They win or it's free. Call 1-888-X-Copper.
Tom Higgins of the Edmonton Eskimos coaching in his first postseason game. Not a great first half. Can you eliminate mistakes?
We can. They're doing a nice job. You got to give them credit. They're confusing us a little bit. We have too many open receivers. They've moved the ball down the field. They've scored points. We can't turn the ball over. But I'd like to tell you that 28 points isn't going to win the football game. And this isn't over yet. We can play a heck of a lot better. And we think in 30 minutes we can close the gap. If not, win the football game.
Good luck, Tom. Thanks.
Thank you. Winston October. He is okay. He's back. Costly fumble in the first half. Singor Mobley also back to return this kick from Mark McLaughlin. A line drive that will hit the turf at the 26. Bounce in front of Mobley. He'll pick it up. Singor Mobley still on his feet. Finally pulled down. Kelly Lockbaum in the vicinity. And I like those fighting words from Tom Higgins. 28 points won't win this football game.
Well, they feel like they've moved the football. You see 180 yards passing is not too bad for a first half. 39 yards rushing for the Edmonton Eskimos. But the key is the 4 turnovers. And we talked about it at halftime. 3 of those 4 took points off the board for Edmonton, basically.
First down, Eskimos. Ball on their own 33. Jason Moss shaken up in the first half, back at quarterback. Flush from the pocket, gets it away. It's complete to the rookie Robinson, who is rocked by Dasham Austin, the rookie out of Northwest Oklahoma State. 4 turnovers in consecutive drives for the Eskimos. First it was the quarterback, Jason Moss, who put the ball down.
Okay, now that was about midfield, so we'll say that one wouldn't have turned into points, but that was right down on the goal line. Definitely points right there. October.
Close to the 20-yard line when he dropped that one.
About 20-yard line.
Then the pick on the goal line by Kelly Malvo.
And they were in field goal range there.
Trouble for Moss. He drops the ball. Stampeders go down for it. They're signaling first down. Yes. Calgary has the ball. Ray Jacobs puts it in his hands. The 4th fumble of this football game by Edmonton. And what a way to start the second half.
Well, Tom Higgins now just trying to rally the troops, because this is the last thing they needed to start the second half. Was the only problem they had really in the first half was putting the ball on the ground, and they start the second half the exact same way. See big Joe Fleming finally getting in the backfield. He pushes the ball out of there, and Ray Jacobs recovers.
There's the pressure of that front 4 led by Joe Fleming with his 12th sack of the season. This front 4 is 4th, 5th, and 6th this year in sacks in the CFL. Led by Joe Fleming, who was drafted out of high school by the St. Louis Blues as a defenseman in hockey. Can you imagine that man on stage?
I don't even want to think about that.
In fact, he used to wear hockey shoulder pads before he got to Calgary. Likes the small pads, hard to grab by offensive linemen.
Think he's got a heavy shot? Bet he's got a heavy shot.
Apparently he broke Keith Kachuk's ribs in a high school game in Boston. There's the pass to Danielson down the sidelines. He's got 8 or 9 more before he's finally driven out at the Edmonton 10, and Marcus Crandall still has the touch.
Well, he really does, and the pressure is on that Edmonton defense now, because if they give up another major here, they're in a serious hole. They've been on the field pretty much for an entire half, and they start the second half even though they were supposed to receive the kickoff and did. Now they're on the field again after the turnover.
Gain is 20. 1st and 10 on the 10. Crandall, shotgun, 5 receivers into the end zone for Travis Moore. He loses his footing. Flags fly. This looks like interference. Quincy Coleman, the rookie, in coverage against the veteran Moore.
Travis Moore using a little motion at the start of the play to try and get the right angle he wanted. See how he comes down from the outside, makes it look like he's running an inside pattern, little jab step there, then breaks to the outside. The ball is thrown perfectly by Marcus Crandall, where Quincy Coleman has to try and play it. When he does, he rolls over the back of Travis Moore.
And Coleman makes a critical mistake by turning his back on the quarterback on the move outside by Moore. Well, the Stampeders will have it, first down, ball on the 5-yard line of the Eskimos. Threatening to blow this game wide open with a 28-7 lead at the half. The big team in. Ball is fumbled and recovered by Kelvin Anderson for a loss on the play as the Stampeders get fumbleitis.
I don't think Marcus Crandall ever had a chance at that football. It looked like it shot between his legs. He's looking over there to Jamie Crysdale and asking him what happened. Crysdale's checking the stick-up on it. No, Crysdale doesn't have stick-up.
That's illegal.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It just shot right underneath Marcus Crandall's legs, and lucky for the Calgary Stampeders that Kelvin Anderson had not disappeared too far. See, Kelvin Anderson was gone taking pitch out, and he reacted back to recover that football, but Jamie Crysdale lost the handle.
The loss is 7, 2nd and 12. 5 receiver set. Anderson has that one and is hit immediately for little or no gain, and so it will be a field goal situation as Jermaine Jones fills quickly from the corner.
They switched. What happened was Singor Mobley had Kelvin Anderson coming out of the backfield, but when he saw that Jermaine Jones' man was coming back in, they just made the quick switch, and Jermaine Jones stepped up and made the big hit. It's great leadership there from Singor Mobley to call the switch on the fly.
Mark McLaughlin has been good on 73.7% of his field goals. He has been perfect inside the 30. This one from the 20, left hash mark. Ball out, down, kicked, and good. And so the Stampeders get more points off turnovers and open a 31-7 lead.
Never seen a Montana.
Final in Edmonton. The Eskimos need to get this man, Terry Vaughn, the CFL's leading receiver this year, more involved in this football game if they want to come back. He's had only 2 catches on the day. First down, Eskimos. Moss, quick drop, then rolling right. There's pressure, gets away from Ray Jacobs, buys time, back across the field, incomplete. 3 Stampeders closest to that pass as it hits the turf.
I agree with you 100% with regards to Terry Vaughn. There's a veteran of 7 years. He knows how to play in big games. In fact, in 7 playoff games, Terry Vaughn averages almost 90 yards per game. Now, he has not found the end zone, but Jason Moss has got to start to look to his veteran receiver for some help, and Terry Vaughn had opened up on the play.
Calling for the ball, it never got there. 2nd and 10. Moss handing off to Ronald Williams from the shotgun. Williams hurdling his way to the 45-yard line, stretching for the first down. Very, very close. He might be inches short.
There are 3 players right now that would really like to do something special for their football teams. I'm talking about Ron Williams, number 1, who fumbled 1 ball down near the end zone. Jason Moss, number 2, who has 2 fumbles on the afternoon. And don't think that Winston October, sitting on the bench, would love to have a punt return. When you make a mistake early as a competitor, you want to be the guy to make the difference down the stretch. You know Ron Williams is looking for a huge play.
Averaging 4 yards a carry, but they are inches short on that last rumble. It'll be 3rd down, and the Eskimos will gamble. And it looks like Ray Jacobs is shaken up. The end for Calgary. And we will check on his situation shortly as they get him up and on his own steam to the Calgary bench. It looks more promising to see him walking off on his own as Buono looks a little concerned. And Jim Daly sends in the defensive signals for this Calgary defense, which has been dominant.
Mark Phelan is a backup defensive lineman on the roster for Calgary.
3rd and inches. Eskimos gambling here at their own 45. There's the push, the sneak from Jason Moss, and they'll have the first down.
Well, one injury can change things in a hurry for your team. It changes personnel, obviously, because the backup comes in, but you also change your schemes somewhat when you don't have the starters in there that have been working on the game plan all week.
Plus, the Stampeders do not have Clinton Wayne, who looked really good the last 2 weeks of the season, going down last week.
Can the Edmonton Eskimos capitalize? Mark Phelan in for Ray Jacob.
First down, Edmonton on the 45. Lots of time for Moss. Backside, it's complete to Robinson, and he runs right into Willie Fells and stops dead at the 50.
Well, he knew he was going to get hit. He was coming across the middle where you don't want to go. It's not for the faint of heart when you go into the middle of that defense, and I don't care what defense you're playing against. At this level, you know one thing, you're going to get pounded.
What a big game for Robinson to come in.
Watch him brace himself. Pow! Right there.
Robinson with 1 catch to show for the whole season coming into this football game. Play action. Moss. More time across the middle, batted down. Alondra Johnson had it right in his hands, and he's mad that he didn't pick it off. A mix up there as that pass went straight at the middle linebacker of the Stampeders.
Watch him drop out of there. Read the eyes of Jason Moss. Flow to the football. Ball's in the air. All you have to do now is finish. Alondra Johnson was thinking about how he was going to dance in the end zone. Actually, to come to think of it, I don't think Alondra Johnson has a touchdown dance. Pretty sure he doesn't do that.
14 years in the CFL. Cleaning up his lifestyle, he said this year. Here's Moss. Second down, rolling right. He'll stop, buy some time. Evades 2 tacklers, gets the ball away, and it's complete to Terry Vaughn for a first down.
How did he get out of there?
Jason Moss looked like he was cornered and about to be turned into a sandwich when he got away.
Mark, that's the kind of play that can give you the spark. Give your team some momentum. This is a team in Edmonton right now that's been reeling. Now he steps in there and somehow avoids that sack. Finds Terry Vaughn, his veteran. That can be the play to spark you offensively.
First down, Eskimos. The big broken play by Moss. Throwing deep down the sideline for Ed Hervey. It's intercepted by Kelly Malvo, his second pick of the game. 6 Edmonton drives, 6 turnovers here at Commonwealth.
The burning hope, the joy.
There are 2 very different ways to get a close fill shave. Quadra Action or Cool Skin. Advanced shaving head or moisturizing gel for pure skin pleasure. Shave underwater or simply rinse underwater. How do you fill a shave?
Did you know that over 2 million Canadians are suffering from cancer or heart disease today? And over 125,000 of them will die this year. Of these people, only 50% have written a will. With these disturbing statistics now more than ever, no matter what your marital status, everyone needs a legal will. Without a legal will, you do not decide who gets your estate. It's usually not until something happens to someone you love that writing your will becomes important. Last year, my wife was diagnosed with a heart condition. Suddenly, it was very important to us. You can write your own will easily and legally with the lawyer-approved Canadian Legal Will Kit. It will save you time and money on legal costs, and most importantly, it will give you peace of mind knowing that your family is secure. Don't risk your estate. This is important. Have your say with the Canadian Legal Will Kit and learn how to probate a will with the Canadian Legal Probate Book. You can do it. It is legal. Order your Canadian Legal Will Kit today. It's only $29.95 plus taxes and postage.
New 1-hour special just for laughs. Monday at 9 on CBC.
getting away from Kelly Malvo, who has 2 interceptions, both on the same pattern, both to the same receiver. But Ed Hervey, with the ball in the air, has got to start to become defensive back and try and knock that ball down. Ed Hervey on both those patterns that were intercepted by Malvo really did not react, and when they turn the ball over, they lose.
Kelvin Anderson outside. There's Doug Peterson with the tackle. But how about Kelly Malvo? No interceptions, or at least only 1 on the season, but 2 today. Moving in front of Joe Barnes in that halfback position late in the season. Coming up huge here in the Western Final.
I'll tell you, sometimes turnovers come in bunches, and heading into the season, at the end of the regular season, I should say, Calgary Stampeders a -8 in the giveaway takeaway, which is dead last.
2nd and 5. Crandall throwing. It's complete to Vince Danielson, and it'll be a Calgary first down at their own 20. So once again, Crandall digging out deep in his own end after deep turnovers by the Eskimos. As we join Scott Russell.
Right, Mark, and Ray Jacobs is the big defensive end for the Calgary Stampeders. He's got a pulled left groin. Talked to Pat Clayton of the Stampeders training staff, and he says Jacobs can go, but they're going to wait and have a look at it before they determine whether he'll get back in the football game. Pulled left groin for Jacobs.
Oh, that would be a big loss for the Stampeders. Jacobs ranked 5th this year in the CFL in sacks with 9. Big one last week against BC in the semifinal. Here's Anderson trying to escape the pursuit. He fumbles the ball. It's still loose. The Eskimos have it. They knock it out of bounds. And a break for the green and gold.
Well, you started to wonder when the Edmonton Eskimos might catch a break. All the bounces so far in this game going Calgary's way. Finally, that defense that has been on the field all game long, Singor Mobley knocks it out. The ball is sitting there. Remember, you just have to be the last person to touch it to get possession of the football. It's inbounds there. It's touched out of bounds by an Edmonton Eskimo.
Tell you what, though, Anderson was not rocked with that shot from Mobley and just lost the ball. So now the Eskimos with a chance to score and take advantage of a Calgary turnover. Moss goes right to the end zone to Terry Vaughn. It's knocked down.
Should have been intercepted.
William Fields going high to break that one up.
I think William Fields mistimed his jump to the football. He looked like he was on his way down when the ball arrived. Because this ball should have been intercepted. Fields is just going to drop off his man and help out on the deep pattern. Look at the chance he has at that ball.
Oh, you're right, Glenn. He should have had it. A second chance, though, for the Eskimos. 2nd and 10. Ball on the Calgary 17. Play action. Here comes the blitz. Moss standing tall. Gets it away. It's complete. Robinson, the rookie, has the ball at the 3-yard line for a first down, Edmonton. Scott Robinson out of Simon Fraser with a couple of key catches today.
Started his career with the BC Lions, but makes another big catch right here to keep the sticks moving and give Jason Moss 3 more downs. But the clock is now the enemy of the Edmonton Eskimos. Even though it's only 3rd quarter, they have to start getting in and out of the huddle to try and get back in this game.
1st and goal on the 3. Moss handing off. Ronald Williams puts his head down. The ball may have come loose again.
Well, it sure looked like it did.
Same spot on the field that he put the ball down in the first half. But it will be Edmonton's ball.
It looked to me, Mark, like Ron Williams did not want to leave his feet. He was trying. There was some indecision there as he hit the line of scrimmage. Remember, when he fumbled early in the game, he tried to dive over the pile. This time he's trying to step over Chris Morris, but didn't want to make the same commitment to dive.
2nd and goal, Eskimos on the 2. Moss goes back to Williams. Hard sledding. He won't get there.
Oh, boy. Well, there's no question what Tom Higgins has to do, and that's to go ahead and go for the major.
Willie Fells having words with Ronald Williams, who is not a shrinking violet when it comes to talking it up. AJ with his head in there too.
Oh, you gotta love this.
It is third down. Goal to go.
14-year veteran Alondra Johnson buckling up for a third down goal line stand. Does it get any better than that?
We saw the Blue Bombers stop the Tiger Cats in a similar situation in the Eastern Final. Third down, goal to go from the one. Eskimos going for it, back to Williams, a mix-up, and he won't get it.
Jason Moss turned the wrong way, or Ron Williams went the wrong way.
Oh, a crushing stand by the Stampeder defense. And Fells celebrates the goal line stand for Calgary.
Oh no, we left the lights on.
No problem.
What?
Well, I get to try my new toy I found at Canadian Tire.
Oh, your new Motomaster Power Pack?
Yeah, my portable power source. Always ready when I need it. 250 cranking amps and enough charge to start up to 30 vehicles. Okay, try it now.
Great! Sure beats waiting around for help.
And it's not just for emergencies. With a built-in 12-volt lighter plug, I use it all the time.
It's very handy on the boat to power marine lights and its high-tech fish finder.
It's great for picnics to power a portable electric cooler.
Perfect for little emergencies like watching the end of your favorite show during a power failure or checking on the kids.
Are you finished yet?
Hey, with the Power Pack, I could keep talking for 30 hours.
Power, when you need it, where you need it. Get the Motomaster Portable Power Pack right now for only $89.99 and never get stranded again. Another innovative product found only at Canadian Tire stores and online.
More overall interior room than Jeep Grand Cherokee. More standard towing capacity than Ford Explorer XLT. More horsepower in a mid-size SUV than anything else in the world. We gave the all-new Chevy Trailblazer a lot more, except here. Trailblazer 4x4 with 0% purchase financing, starting from $36,998. After driving one, everything else just seems kind of weak. The 2002 Chevy Trailblazer.
Willie Fells with two huge tackles in that Calgary goal line stand.
Not one, not two, but 3 times for Ron Williams. There's number 1, Alondra Johnson, the veteran. Then it's Willie Fells with a huge hit in the hole. And then the broken play that had no chance on third down.
Ronald Williams taking a breather as Fells celebrates a big stand for Calgary. In the end zone, Crandall throwing to the flats. It's dangerous. A one-hopper to Aubrey Cummings is incomplete.
There was complete confusion on that third down gamble. Ron Williams, it didn't look like he knew which way the play was supposed to go. You see Jason Moss look back. Here's the huddle before the third down gamble. Williams turns around, and then there's some confusion. They turn around and get the snap count. When Jason Moss takes this football, he goes the wrong way, or Williams is the wrong way. That's supposed to be a quick hitter right up the middle. It took too long, and Willie Fells was in the backfield.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. Backed up on their own 1-yard line. Look at the turnover ratio here this afternoon, 7-1. Eskimos self-destructing. Crandall throwing deep downfield, incomplete, intended for Vince Danielson, but surrounded by Eskimo defenders, and so the Stamps will have to punt, and Jackie Kellogg is still on the limp web.
Yeah, they're playing Ralph Staten now primarily as the safety. They want Staten to be the deep player because Kellogg doesn't look like he can run full speed, so he'll be up trying to jam receivers, and they'll leave Staten deep. Now, I think in this case, Wally Buono would likely elect to give up the 2 points here, which really doesn't hurt him on the scoreboard, and get that field position back.
Manny looking nervous, standing 15 yards deep. 11 men on the line for the Eskimos. October, the lone man back to return.
You want to put it in October's hands when he's standing in your end of the field right now, and that's what they'll do.
Manny running for the out-of-touch line, and the Stamps will give up a 2-point safety. The first Edmonton points since their opening offensive drive of this final. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Scott.
Thanks very much, Mark. Have a look at this jersey, a CBC at CFL. A retro jersey from the 1950s, this worn by the Calgary Stampeders. They wore it against the Montreal Alouettes, and they had their retro jerseys as well. This one's signed by Travis Moore. You can enter a draw to win this jersey and to help create some funds for your favorite sport or charity organization. Send us a line at cbctvsports@toronto.ca, and we're going to make the draw on November 20th for a bunch of these CFL retro jerseys from the 1950s, and also to help your favorite charity organization. Guys?
Great cause, Scott, and I understand some jerseys have already topped $600 to $800 in the bidding, as Scott Regenbald, sophomore out of Houston, is down in the end zone after that last punt. Looks like they're working on his right knee. Matt Clayton, the trainer for Calgary, assessing the damage to the starting fullback for the Stampeders. Scott Dybert is his backup.
You get in a situation, we heard talk about Ray Jacobs and how he's also nicked on the sideline right now, and they're kind of watching. He could go. It looks like Ray Jacobs it'll depend on the scoreboard whether or not Ray Jacobs plays. Scott Regenbald plays. There's Jacobs on the sideline. They're just saying, just rest for now. As long as we have a nice cushion in this lead, you can wait until Montreal.
A groin injury can be a real devastating injury. It's a big muscle, and it takes such a long time to heal. Let's hope it's not that serious, as Dybert indeed comes in for Regenbald. And the Stampeders will kick it off from their 35 after giving up the safety. Here's October letting it bounce. Gets it on the first hop across the 25. Breaking some blocks. Hit hard again as he crosses the 35-yard line. Austin with the tackle on an 18-yard return by Winston October.
Well, we've talked about heading into the game. What would be some of the keys for both teams? For the Calgary Stampeders, Calvin Anderson, again, busy in the first half. You need to keep the balance in your offense. Look at that defense. Only one big play over 40 yards. That's to Ed Hervey. They're doing their job. And then on the other side, Moss with the 7 turnovers, and Moore is getting on a roll. If he gets on a roll, it's trouble for Edmonton.
Talk about patience. Patience for Moss in this football game. Tested. It's complete to Terry Vaughn. Makes a move on Joe Barnes and gets 6 more. And a big first down for the Eskimos with 2:57 to play in the third quarter.
Yeah, now they've got to go hurry up offense, and that's what they'll do. Jason Moss is looking at the clock the whole way now, and that's his worst enemy.
Gain is 15 yards on the pass from Moss in the hurry-up offense here, trying to take advantage of what time is left. Moss, lots of time in the pocket. It's complete to Vaughn, and he's hit hard. Oh, my goodness. Otis Floyd came over top and drilled him in the back of the helmet after a 4-yard gain.
Terry Vaughn knows the urgency of the situation. He jumps up in a hurry and is right back out there, lined up in his wide receiver position. So here comes the hit, and it was a huge hit. But he jumped up right afterwards. He knows he's got to get in hurry up. They've got to find a way to get some points.
2nd and 6. Moss again, far side to Winston October, and he's drilled into the turf by Dasham Austin. Right at the first down marker.
Winston October has taken some big hits in this game and keeps getting up.
This young Calgary secondary putting on some ferocious licks. Drilling October head first.
October had to get up and adjust his equipment and make sure everything was still functioning, and he goes over to the bench to regroup after some hard hits. And right now, Singor Mobley's down there on the bench trying to wave this offense on the bench. Also understands the urgency that's facing the Edmonton Eskimos at this point.
3rd down Eskimos, inches short of that first down marker. Ball just across the Calgary 50 as Tom Higgins looks on. Team down deep, 31-9, late in the third quarter. The sneak from Jason Moss will be good for the first down. And they'll move the chains. The Eskimos looking like they had lots of scoring punch in that first half, but for all those turnovers, can they come back down 31-9? It's a tall order.
a game that you're in where if you lose, you put all your equipment in a big green plastic bag and you head home. They're almost in 3-down territory now where they might as well gamble every time they have equipment.
Moss keeping one back in for protection, gets the pass away to Quincy Jackson. He steps out of bounds with another Edmonton first down at the 36-yard line of Calgary. So Jackson, after a couple of drops in the first half, has been solid receiving for Edmonton.
The other thing that the hurry-up offense will do for you offensively is it can dictate what the defense can run. Defense usually will stay more basic when they're in the hurry-up.
Can the Eskimos sustain this drive and get to the end zone? Moss with lots of time, airing it deep downfield for Vaughn. He's behind the defenders. It hits Kelly Malvo, incomplete. Terry Vaughn, sorry, Glenn, was open.
Yeah, he got open until William Fields showed his great closing speed. Remember, William Fields in the rematch against this team took an attempt at a two-point convert from Moss, 110 yards for the winning points for the Calgary Stampeders, and he closed in a hurry to bail out Kelly Malvo.
A rare two-point convert return by the defense, and a 34-33 Calgary win. Here's Moss again across the middle to Ed Hervey. He's wide open, sidesteps an official, drops the ball. The Stampeders have it. Another turnover. That's 8 for the Eskimos. William Fields scoops up the ball, fumbled by Ed Hervey. And Tom Higgins is bewildered.
Well, you can say this, though, and give the Calgary Stampeders the credit they deserve. Every single turnover, all 8 were caused. I mean, Ed Hervey is hit here, and that ball shoots out. Ron Williams was hit on the goal line. The ball came out. Winston October, Jason Moss. They're not just putting the ball on their own on the ground.
Glenn, the fans are heading for the exits already here in Edmonton. Here's Anderson with a big hole. Oh, wow, across midfield with a big Calgary first down.
And now you want to wear them down, keep control of the football, and start planning for your trip to Montreal if you're the Calgary Stampeders. That's where Kelvin Anderson comes in. Every time you run the ball, the clock keeps moving. And it becomes that much more demoralizing for a defense that has got to be getting tired at this point in the game.
Cordell Taylor with the tackle on the big game, 22 yards by Kelvin Anderson. This will be the last play of the third quarter. Stampeders are 8-0 when leading in the fourth quarter, and their lead is big right now at 31-9. Right side, Anderson into traffic there. Jackie Kellogg coming up to make the tackle with help from Steve Anderson. There's the gun at three-quarter time. Ed Hervey's fumble, the 8th turnover of this football game by the Eskimos. And the Stampeders have control as AJ can't believe it. It's 31-9.
What makes the Mazda B-Series truck a bestseller? It looks great in white, green, blue, and several shades of brown. The Mazda B-Series truck, always in season.
chilly in Edmonton for some, I suppose. 31-9 for the Calgary Stampeders as we embark on the fourth quarter of play. We're getting set for the 89th Grey Cup Classic, and so therefore Grey Cup Saturday coming your way at 4 Eastern this Saturday, November 24th. Some of the great games, the classics, and some of the classic characters of the game as well. Grey Cup Sunday the next day, 3 Eastern. We'll look at 50 years of the CFL on CBC and get ready for the big game. And then the game, 5:30 Eastern, coast to coast from the Big O in Montreal, the 89th Grey Cup Championship. Guys?
Right, Scott. Crandall conducting a tremendous offense today, and the Eskimos are indeed losing their shirts in more ways than one here today.
And congratulations to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Winners earlier in the Eastern Final versus Hamilton, and they're on their way, and they deserve it. The season they put together this year.
Nice to see the Bombers back in the Grey Cup for the first time since 1993. What a drought for a team that's had a proud reputation.
Calgary number 50, still second down.
Well, and it's, you wonder about the football gods sometime when you finish first like the Edmonton Eskimos are, and now they're in a big hole. But the season that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers put together with 14 wins, I mean, they deserve to be in the Grey Cup. They're there. They found a way to beat Hamilton. And congratulations to Dave Rich and that entire team.
2nd and 12. Quarterback draw, flags fly, and Crandall muscles his way right through the middle of that Eskimo defense, and it looks like it'll be procedure against Calgary.
And now you start to wonder at 31-9, at what point does Wally Buono decide to maybe get Marcus Crandall out of there? And Ben Sankey sitting over there on the bench, maybe he gets some playing time. Now, it may be about 3 or 4 minutes before Ben Sankey takes off the warm-up jacket, but you wonder what time do they get Marcus Crandall out of the game and just make sure that he isn't injured.
Decline, 3rd down.
So it's offside. It'll be 3rd down in a punting situation for the Stampeders. We saw Ben Sankey at a restaurant last night. Who says that the Stampeders are uptight? These guys have been loose. Wally Buono said yesterday that in all those years when they won the West, winning wasn't fun because they knew what awaited them, the pressure of that Western Final. This year it was different. Few people expected they might get here. They had to claw for those wins. And Alondra Johnson told me that they learned how to come from behind. They learned how to deal with adversity. Some of those old teams could not come back. Winston October at his own 6, turns on the Jets, breaks a tackle, got some speed in a lane up the middle. Finally, the Stampeders shut it down. Divert with a big tackle on a 37-yard return. Winston October still has game.
With the new Duramax diesel engine and an Allison automatic transmission, the 300 horsepower GMC Sierra Heavy Duty is the most powerful diesel pickup ever.
It's a bit of a fixer-upper.
The all-new GMC Sierra Heavy Duty.
One man's future is in the past.
It is the year 1328.
Now he's tripping.
Who be ye? Who be I? I'll be stomping your butt. You put your hand on me one more again.
He's freaking.
Damn. Y'all really know how to make a brother feel welcome?
He's jamming.
With these hands, I make fire.
We have fire. He's Martin Lawrence.
911, white man down.
Black Knight.
I holler.
Wednesday, only in theaters.
Dear Dad, yesterday I found my first pair of skates. Remember? The ones from Canadian Tire you gave me for Christmas. You started teaching me the very next day. I wasn't scared. I knew you'd never let me fall. This year I'm giving Lisa her first pair of skates from Canadian Tire. I just hope her first teacher will be as good as mine.
Great gifts come from Canadian Tire, but the greatest gifts of all come straight from the heart.
Welcome back to the Western Final in Edmonton. Mark Lee with Glenn Suter, our spotter Rob Crefo, Scott Russell, Brian Williams, Pinball Clemens, and Danny Barrett. The CFL on CBC, and the third quarter stats look so close except for one glaring one.
Well, Marcus Crandall is in the zone. You can see the turnovers. The time of possession surprises me a little bit. I'm certainly not questioning our statistician, David Moyer, who is always in the zone. But you're right. Edmonton has moved the football.
Completion to Ronald Williams, still on his feet, close to a first down. David Moore just telling me that of 8 turnovers, only 17 points have come to Calgary. So,
yeah. Well, I wouldn't question him. He's always in the zone, our statistician. There's no question about that. But I was thinking that the time of possession was becoming lopsided for Calgary. Edmonton has moved the football, but like you said, 8 turnovers, they just get down in scoring range and hand it back over to Calgary.
Williams just shy of the first down with some good open field running. So it'll be 2nd and inches at midfield for Jason Moss and the Eskimos. 13:43 left in regulation time. Trailing by 22 points.
Again, I'm a little surprised that the Eskimos are huddling up.
Clock running. Moss straight back to pass. Lots of time. Rolls out. Gets it away. It's complete at the 50-yard line to Robinson. The kid has had sticky hands this afternoon for Edmonton. And it's a first down for the Eskimos.
With all the turnovers, I've lost count, but he may be the only one on offense that hasn't handed the ball back to the Calgary Stampeders. He has been the bright light for Edmonton.
Shotgun formation. Moss surveys the defense. He'll run. Looking for the sidelines as Otis Floyd throws him out of bounds heavily, and the Eskimo bench has words with the Calgary linebacker.
Of course, Otis Floyd turns around and has words with the Edmonton bench right afterwards. Otis Floyd grabbed Jason Moss well in bounds. He ended up throwing him out of bounds, but I think he was well within the rules. And again, Terry Vaughn, the forgotten man in this offense, the veteran, can't get much more open.
2nd and 5, Eskimos. 5-yard pickup. Pass behind Ronald Williams, incomplete. And Ricky Bell was filling quickly behind Williams. Moss frustrated.
Yeah, that's just a throw that Jason Moss rushed. He rushed the throw to Ron Williams, put way too much on it, and it was behind him.
3rd and 5, and it will be a gambling situation for Tom Higgins and the Eskimos.
I've been on both sidelines, different playoff scenarios. More on Tom Higgins than Wally Bono at this point being behind. And the reality of the situation is starting to sink in right now for Edmonton.
Moss, 3rd and 5. Tries to force the ball. It's batted down, incomplete. And the Stampeders will take over on downs when we come back. The dejection and frustration written all over the face of quarterback Jason Moss. That is 9 straight Eskimo drives ending in turnovers.
Coaches will tell you if you turn the ball over 3 or 4 times in a game, you will likely lose the football game. Not to mention 9. Wow.
Crandall still at quarterback. Hand off to Kelvin Anderson up the middle, and he stopped maybe for a loss of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd down as Steve Anderson makes the stop for Edmonton.
No gain on the play.
Shop online from the convenience of your own home, and you can get Canadian Tire money too. It pays to shop online. CanadianTire.ca.
Anderson on that play. How about Kelvin Anderson playing a season in the XFL, still with fresh legs after 18 games, and now his 2nd playoff game here with Calgary. Here's Crandall across the middle to Peterson. Flags are down as he dances across center field, puts the ball down. It's loose, but the Stampeders still have it. Kamal Peterson with 2 touchdowns in the first half. Been a red-letter day for the rookie.
That's when you know when the bounces are going your way. When you put the ball on the ground and your teammate covers up for you. It has been a nice afternoon for Kamal Peterson. And this is the kind of game for him that will give him a ton of confidence.
Interference. Calgary number 83,
Repeat, second down.
Give him a ton of confidence as he heads into the Grey Cup if they can hold on and win here.
Travis Moore upset with the interference call from Jake Ireland.
Of course, Mark Moore, another guy in the XFL.
Yes.
For this season.
Stampeders had Kelvin Anderson, Otis Floyd, and Travis Moore all playing San Francisco with the Demons. Kelly Malvo and Ricky Bell played for Orlando Rage. And these guys are in tremendous shape to go through 2 seasons in 1 year. Penalty, it's 2nd and 20. Stampeders. Ball on their own 35. Crandall rolling away from pressure. Gets complete to Aubrey Cummings at the 40. He drives to the 45 and out of bounds at the Calgary bench.
Mike Clements mentioned before the game that the quarterback that made the best decisions would likely lead his team to victory. And that right there, what Marcus Crandall just did, is a great example of his decision-making process throughout this game. He was in 2nd and 20. Rather than try and force the ball deep down the field, trying to control his teammate right now, but rather than force it deep down the field, cause maybe a turnover, give the Edmonton Eskimos a little bit of life, throws one underneath, gets his punt team on the field, no harm, no foul. Now he'll go over and show his leadership abilities on the side, on the bench with Travis Moore.
A leader and a peacekeeper. Glenn Crandall is having a fantastic game here today for the Stampeders against the team that never gave him a chance in 3 seasons in Edmonton. October at his own 25. Breaks a tackle free across the 40, still going. It's outside and finally brought down by Scott Dybert, who now scrums for the football here at Commonwealth.
Prayers has come over and help out Ricky Bell on the deep coverage. Ed Hervey wasn't open, and that's how Moss went down.
2nd and 11. Loss of 1 on the sack. Pressure from the left side. The ball's away and complete to Robinson. Diving for the first down marker, and it looks like he might be very close, if not just shy.
Joe Fleming hit Jason Moss just as he delivered the football. It looked like the kind of hit that would hurt the quarterback because he was right in the middle of his delivery. Jason Moss bounces up after this one. See, he's right in the middle, and the carry through as Joe Fleming gets his helmet right under the right arm. Jason Moss and Terry Vaughn trying to help out with a little blocking. It's Kelly Malville on pursuit. Vaughn goes down and cuts Malville down in the process.
Here's the measurement. And they just short of the first down. But how about Joe Fleming carrying Sean Daniels on his back as he burst through to make contact with the Edmonton quarterback? Fleming having a tremendous season himself. 11 sacks. There's the sneak for the first down for the Eskimos, playing in their 30th consecutive season in the playoffs, but this one has not been glorious this afternoon.
Well, Jason Moss has to know one thing, that the Calgary secondary is going to stay back. They're going to stay off the ball and stay deep. They will not give up the one-play shot to the end zone. So Moss has got to get in and out of the huddle quickly and get the ball, dump it off, and see if his receivers can't break a couple of tackles.
Calgary defenders 20 yards deep. Moss ducking the rush. Will throw. It's complete as Alondra Johnson makes the tackle on the rookie Robinson, who suddenly become the life of this passing offense.
And Calgary will give them that. You know, at this point, 31-9 with just over 8 minutes left, they will give them the underneath patterns, and Alondra Johnson will say, go ahead, catch that one. That's called 5 yards and a headache. And I'll provide the headache.
But this #1 passing offense, quiet at the #1 and 2 receiver spots for Vaughn and Hervey. Here's Moss throwing deep downfield, looking for Jackson. It's overthrown.
Yeah, see, he's not going to get that one. I mean, Kelly Malvo was sitting back there on Quincy Jackson, and he was probably 8-9 yards off the ball at the snap of the football. So he's just backing up nice and relaxed, and he knows that all I have to do is not let anyone in behind me.
Kelly Malvo has not been threatened this afternoon with 2 interceptions, and again, close coverage on Jackson on that play. 3rd and 2.
Big Fred Childress has come into the game to play in the middle of the defense now.
There's the sneak. Good push from the offensive line of Edmonton. They needed 2.
Here's the big chill. He comes in on short yardage, number 68. Plays primarily on offense, but occasionally will come over on defense and trying to help out on that short yardage, and he's tough to move out of that hole.
Tell you what, that line lists to the left with him at tackle. 333 pounds for the chill. But it is a first down for the Eskimos. On the 3rd and 2 gamble, Moss looking left, rolling now right. There's pursuit from behind from Fleming, and it's thrown away, intended for Ed Hervey. Joe Barnes had coverage on that play, and it's incomplete.
We probably haven't given enough credit, and I know Chris Walby will probably have a little chat with me on this one, to the offensive line for the Calgary Stampeders. We just talked about Fred Childress, and you know, if a quarterback is in a zone, he likely has some time to throw the football. And Jamie Crysdale, the veteran at center, Fred Childress, Thomas Raham, the guys up front have done a nice job. I'm sure I'll get the Chris Walby memo. I'm not talking about him enough.
Here's the blitz. The ball's away deep for Hervey again. Coming back to it. He's got it. Touchdown, Eskimos. Their first major since their opening drive of this football game, beating the rookie Joe Barnes at corner, and something to cheer about in Edmonton.
Well, 7:24 left. You're now just 2 possessions away. You need 2 majors. One of them, if you're the Edmonton Eskimos, has to be a 2-point convert. Hervey very subtle in the back. Slight little push there on Joe Barnes.
Hervey's 2nd touchdown reception of the game. Some big yardage at 122 yards, but he's been silent in the middle 2 quarters. The point after from Sean Fleming is good, and now the margin is 15. The first drive since 9 straight ending in turnovers.
Well, right after I said that the Calgary secondary wasn't going to give up the deep ball, Ed Hervey must have heard me and wanted to prove me wrong. And right after the convert,
well, what's AJ doing without his helmet on?
Alondra Johnson didn't have his helmet, and he got hit, and then Johnson got the penalty afterwards. So the penalty is assessed on the kickoff. Sean Fleming lines up at the 45 instead of the 35. If I'm Tom Higgins here, I'm kicking this deep. There's plenty of time left.
Fleming wearing a brace on his plant left leg after blowing his ACL and MCL against the Argos with 2 weeks to go in the season, and he gets a beauty away deep over the shoulder. The catch made at the 2 by Kelvin Anderson. Flags are down behind him, and he's hit as he crosses the 20-yard line.
See, now your defense has life for a couple of reasons. They've been out there and they've given up some big plays to Marcus Crandall, who has been in his zone. We've talked about it all afternoon. But now you have new light. Ed Hervey gives it to you on the touchdown. Then Tom Higgins makes the right decision to keep it, kick it deep. Now with the penalty.
Illegal block. Calgary number 4. First down.
With the penalty assessed, Calgary will be backed up. You have just given your defense a ton of confidence at a time when they need it the most.
Stampeders have scored 1 field goal in the second half after lighting it up in the first half. 7:05 to play, and flags fly again as the Stamps have been backed up inside their 10.
Too many men out there for the Calgary Stampeders. There's 13 players out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well,
that was Aubrey Cummings, the extra man. That's a new rule in this league, where offenses would put 13 guys in the huddle, wait to see who's on defense, and then you can't shuttle accordingly.
Yeah, you can't put the sleeper play out there. It's the old sleeper play. That's the reason they put the rule in effect. Once the official on the sideline puts his arms up, you can't substitute.
What a field position swing for the Eskimos. Pitch out into the end zone. Kelvin Anderson outside, diving across the 8-yard line. And it looks like there's some life in this Eskimo defense.
Well, and it's far from over, Mark, no question. With 6:37 in the CFL, you can put up 3, 4, 5 drives together. See Singor Mobley's pumped up now. This defense is excited. They've got new life. All of a sudden, in a game that they were not even close to being in, they have a chance, and they could feel it.
Jackie Kellogg, the ex-Stampeder, surveying the offense. 2nd and 8. Stampeders on their own 8. Shotgun formation. Crandall. Pressure. Can't get it away. It's incomplete.
That's that defense is fired up now. Steve Anderson back in there, the former Calgary Stampeder, right in the face of Marcus Crandall. And remember we talked about maybe bench Sankey, maybe he sits down Crandall. Forget about that. That is over. Because this game is still in the balance in a big way.
Steve Anderson, the former Stampeder, with a big pressure there. Singor Mobley trying to fan the crowd. I'll tell you, thousands have already gone home. They gave up. Greg Marshall.
Never quit. Canadian Football League. One play. It is a game of emotion.
Crandall has completed only 4 passes for 36 yards in the second half as he's gone cold. O'Mahony, the rookie, in his own end zone. 6 yards deep with this punt. He gets it away. A nice spiral. Driving October back to midfield. Winston October straight through the punt coverage, and he's rocked as he crosses the 35 by Greg Frères. But good field position for the Eskimos as the offense takes the field.
Shop online from the convenience of your own home, and you can get Canadian Tire money too. It pays to shop online. CanadianTire.ca.
A 20-yard return, make that a net of 26 on the punt by O'Mahony.
More life for the Edmonton Eskimos. Right after that Winston October return, the offensive line sprinted on the field.
First down, Eskimos on the Calgary 35. 5:24 to go in regulation. Moss is going to the end zone for Jackson. Fighting for it. He's got it. No! They wipe it out. He's ruled out of bounds.
Oh, baby, I don't know.
And Hervey protests.
Well, the officials made the call immediately.
Kim Murphy, the back judge, says it's incomplete, out of bounds.
But boy, it looked to me, and that's right below our broadcast booth location, that he had put that 1 foot in bounds. Here comes another look at it. He goes up here, has control of the football. Now, no, that's a great call. Boy, that was close. From here, it looked like he was in.
Kim Murphy right there with a good call. 2nd and 10. 5 receiver set for the Eskimos. Jason Moss, incomplete, intended for Jackson. Batted down by Kelly Malvo.
Well, you're still now in a gambling situation for Tom Higgins. There's 5 minutes left, but a field goal doesn't help you. You need the 2 majors, and you need the 2-point convert.
Higgins looking tense on the Eskimo bench. 3rd and 10. Edmonton. 5 minutes and counting left to play. They're down by 15 points. The leading receiver, Terry Vaughn. Pressure on Moss. Can't find a receiver. Throws it away. Nearly intercepted. But flags are down. Deep downfield.
Joe Barnes threw his helmet about 30 yards.
Looks like he's got a fat lip as this battle heats up. Barnes reaching for his lips as it looks like he may have taken a shot.
Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 81. First down.
Ed Hervey and Joe Barnes in a battle down the field to try and get open.
And that throws cold water on the hopes of the Eskimos. Ed Hervey, who on the previous series had caught his 2nd touchdown pass, giving some new life to this Eskimo team. Talking to Waddell Smith, the former great. The Eskimos with 5 Grey Cup rings. in the 70s and 80s. Pitch out. Wide side, Kelvin Anderson. It's strung out. Now he gets some blocks. Puts his head down, stays in bounds.
That's what he did.
And he'll keep the clock moving.
That's a veteran move by Kelvin Anderson to just put the brakes on as he got close to the sideline, stay in bounds. Very close to that first down marker.
Waddell Smith having some strong words there with Ed Hervey.
Just saying, play football. You know, just forget about the other stuff after the whistle blows. Just play football. You still have a chance in this game.
Kelvin Anderson with 74 yards on 13 carries this afternoon. Second and short. They'll sneak it across the 50.
Obviously, when Edmonton looks back on this game, they'll look at the turnovers. No question in the first half. A big reason why they weren't in it and have lost this game, if in fact that's what happens. But I'm not sure on that. The decision in the last drive where they had some momentum back for Jason Moss to try the deep ball twice in a row and then be forced into a third down gamble. They may look back on that as a mistake. They had plenty of time with over 5 minutes and just 2 possessions down to run the regular offense.
Glenn, they score a touchdown on their first series, then go 9 in a row, ending in turnovers, get a touchdown, then get another turnover. It's been that kind of day for the Eskimo offense. 2 drives ending in points, 10 ending in turnovers. It's the 3-minute warning at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Stampeders with a 31-16 lead with 2:48 to play in regulation time, and it looks like the home field jinx will play out again today, barring an Edmonton comeback. Look at that in the 90s. The home team, the winner of the West, winning only 3 of 7. And if this score continues here today, it'll be 12 out of 15 games in which the home team has not prevailed. Crandall rolling, and he'll be caught by Quincy Coleman for a loss on the play.
Well, Jason Moss will get the football back, but he now only has 2 minutes and 34 seconds left, and now he's almost forced to go down the field and hope he gets lucky. Pass interference call somewhere along the line, but Wally Buono has put together a perfect game plan, offensively and defensively. They created some turnovers. George Cortez has Marcus Crandall playing the best I've seen him all season long at a perfect time.
Third down and 17. Duncan O'Mahony standing on his 39. Winston October, the lone man back for the Eskimos. Time ticking down to 2:17. 1 second left on the clock. The play clock, and O'Mahony gets it away. A deep kick to the 6-yard line. October looking for a crack. He won't find one. As Kelly Lockbaum is down to make the tackle. A 54-yard punt by the rookie and a 6-yard return by October.
October has got some return yardage in this game, but he hasn't broke it for the touchdown.
Well, Jason Moss has had 3 of his best games against Calgary during the regular season, throwing 6 touchdown passes, but today his offense has been handcuffed by misplayed passes, runs, 10 turnovers, total of 5 fumbles, 2 interceptions.
Now it's tough on that Edmonton offensive line. Guys are going.
Moss complete. Robinson again as he goes back to the rookie from St. Francis, or rather Simon Fraser.
Calgary Stampeders are going to elect to just rush 3. Joe Fleming will be in the middle. Go with James Cotton on one side and then drop everybody else into coverage. So Jason Moss will now have to find what little holes there are in that coverage to move the ball down the field.
First down, Moss going deep for Hervey. It's overthrown. And Hervey didn't seem to have a lot of jump in his stride.
This is where it really starts to sink in. Both sides of the field. You start thinking about your trip to Montreal. You know the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are already on their way.
How about the Stampeders? A losing season for the first time under Wally Buono. Jim Daly and they were not expected to be a factor at this time of the year, and they are. And they're getting better with every game, particularly that quarterback, Marcus Crandall. Jason Moss is sacked. Joe Fleming puts the grip on him.
Yeah, and you know, I wonder about that in a lot of ways. I mean, this football team in Calgary has done nothing but improve as the season has gone on, and I agree with you that some people in the media did rule them out, but I certainly wasn't one of them. I don't think that this team can be ruled out when you're coached by Wally Buono and you look at his resume and the veterans that are on this football team. And they improved. Their defense struggled in the first half of the season.
Third down gamble, incomplete from Jason Moss. And another turnover.
And it creates a great matchup for the Grey Cup. I mean, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and their high-powered offense with Kahari Jones and Milt Stegall, and now with the way Marcus Crandall's playing.
Here's Scott.
Mark, here's my buddy Brian Simpson. He's an Edmonton Eskimos fan, but he's changed his garb here. He's wearing the new logo of the Ottawa Renegades. They'll begin playing the CFL next season. And so Brian's got this on for now. Heartbroken what's happening with the Eskimos. Oh, and by the way, GM Eric Tillman of the Ottawa Renegades tells me that our statistician David Moyer has okayed this design on the logo. Okay?
Well, at least they kept the R word. I was a Rough Rider fan growing up in Ottawa, but it will be the Renegades coming back into the CFL. 1:33 to play. Stampeders stay on the ground to Kelvin Anderson up the middle for a gain of 4, maybe 5 yards as the Stampeders try to run this clock down. Alondra Johnson, 14 years in the CFL. One of the veterans on a young team and celebrating with Wally Buono, who has really been tested as a head coach this year, Glenn, working with all these youngsters.
Well, you know, one thing they said early when they were losing.
We're going to the Grey Cup. Grey Cup. We did it, baby. Yeah, baby. They counted us out. Yeah, baby. They counted us out.
Willie Fells savoring the moment.
Early in the year they were losing, and they say, you know, maybe it's not a bad thing that we're taking our lumps in the middle of the regular season. This is a team in Calgary that throughout the 90s finished first more than any other team in the league, and then didn't always win that Western Final. And they thought, you know, maybe this changeup will be okay for us. Now the fear is that you'll become complacent and you won't be able to turn the switch on when you need to. Well, that didn't happen in Calgary. They slowly improved. They improved on defense. Marcus Crandall played well all season and has finally found a way to finish games.
I'll tell you what, earlier this week, the new owner, Michael Federick, gathered the team together for a dinner and played the NFL Films version of the 1998 Grey Cup win by the Stampeders. And there were guys on that team, guys like Joe Fleming, who has not played in a Grey Cup. He had tears in his eyes, and a lot of the young guys saw what was at stake and what was waiting at the end of this playoff, and that may have been ample motivation for this young team.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Marcus Crandall and George Cortez have their work cut out for them this week. That Winnipeg defense is second to none in the league.
Mark McLaughlin attempting this field goal from the 19. It's a tip shot and good. The Stampeders increase their lead to 34-16.
How about Mark McLaughlin?
Well, is he
talking about retirement?
Yes.
At the end of this season, what a way to finish for him to go to the Grey Cup.
And we asked him, we said, how should we handle this today in the broadcast? And he said, TBA, to be announced.
Yeah, I think he's going to wrap things up at the end of this year. And I asked him before the game, favorite memory in the CFL. He said it was 1991, the playoff game right here. It wasn't even a Grey Cup. He said right here is when we won. Remember, Pee Wee Smith ran that touchdown out of the back of the end zone and out. He said, I hit a 54-yarder in that game. It was my best memory as a pro. And he said, I think it started the Calgary Stampeder dynasty in 1991. And they built from there. And they had the great run through the 90s. And now on their way to the Grey Cup in 2001.
Jason Moss goes back to Terry Vaughn. It's complete short of a first down. I thought Mark might mention the winning kick in '98 to beat the Tiger Cats.
That's exactly what I thought he may talk about, and he didn't. He said that as a team, there's Travis Moore.
Say we're going to the cup. Say we're going to the cup.
There's Marcus Crandall. Deserved congratulations. And a tremendous game for him. Terry Vaughn with the first down catch for the Eskimos. Marcus Crandall denied the opportunity here in Edmonton. Came back with a vengeance. He mopped up for Nealon Green in the '99 Western Final, then left the CFL for a year. And he's been hot since returning as a starter in Calgary.
You know, we love to talk about those stories, those personal stories. You know, Marcus Crandall was playing it down a little bit.
Jump ball for Ed Hervey, incomplete.
But right now, Marcus Crandall is loving this moment. He really is. He deserves it. He put his time in here in Edmonton. They cast him aside. Don Matthews said, "You are my starter," in the '99 off season, and then signed Nealon Green and pulled the rug out from underneath him. And now Crandall gets to come back and say, maybe that was a mistake by this Edmonton Eskimo organization.
He's a classy, quiet quarterback, and he did his talking today with some brilliant passing. Moss deep downfield, complete to Jackson. Across the 30 of the Stampeders with 26 seconds to go. And how about the off-the-field distraction of Wally Buono's status? People wondering if this is his final season with the Stampeders.
Mark, he's done a nice job, though, all season of not talking about that. He's tried to keep the focus on his football team. I mean, Wally Buono is a pro. You won't find a guy that will be
Sorry, Glenn.
Will be able to handle a situation like Wally Buono has like that. I mean, he is a professional. He's not going to let that affect his football team.
Why would you not have him back if you're the new owner of this football team, considering what he fashioned here today?
There's so many rumors swirling around, and you will not hear anything from Wally Buono until after the Grey Cup game.
Moss, the late drive, intended for Jackson, incomplete at the 3-yard line. 11 seconds to go as Tom Higgins stands on the bench. He said, you know, I wouldn't be telling the truth if I didn't say I really loved being on the sidelines as a head coach, but he said that he and Hugh Campbell made a pact that they would not discuss his situation regarding next year until this season was over. But he is a gentleman, and he has been a terrific head coach of this team, getting them through an injury-riddled season.
The injuries were unbelievable.
Here's Moss with 7 seconds, throwing to the end zone. It's intercepted. Lawrence Deck picks off the ball on the deflection to end the football game on another Edmonton turnover. 12 turnovers for the Eskimos, and Marcus Crandall and Wally Buono are going to the Grey Cup.
I love the matchup. The Calgary Stampeders playing some great football down the stretch, especially in the last 2 playoff games against the best team in Canadian football during the regular season, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, in the '89 Grey Cup.
Yes, a rematch of the '92 Grey Cup, when Doug Flutie won his first in the CFL. Here's Scott Russell.
Yes, Mark, and here is Marcus Crandall, who had a wonderful football game today, threw for 4 touchdowns. How satisfying was it to you, Marcus, to have all the weapons at your disposal today?
Hey, I mean, it was pick and choose your poison today. All our receivers were getting open for us and running good routes, and the offensive line came up big today. We knew that their defensive line was big, and it was a big key to them winning the game, and we held them off today.
Beautiful. Jason Moss right there. Congratulations for Marcus. Look at that. Everybody talked about the Calgary Stampeder Football Club. It had been a season on the brink. You hadn't played that well as a team, and yet you came on at the end.
Hey, man, these last few weeks we've been getting it together all around, and past few weeks defense has played well all game, and they came out and did the same thing today, and we came out and put some points on the board to help them out a little bit.
Marcus, way to go. Enjoy it. I'm going to take it over here to Alondra Johnson. Here's AJ, 14 years in the Canadian Football League, going to the Grey Cup again. Tell us about how you guys stood up, created some turnovers against the Edmonton Eskimos.
I'm going to thank God first, because without him we wouldn't be here fighting as hard as we do. But come out and do this thing here in Edmonton is awesome. We feel good. We're going to Grey Cup. That's what it's all about. All you folks who discounted us, don't do it again. It's on now, baby. It's on, yeah. I'm excited.
The team had struggled, though, Alondra, throughout much of the season, and then at the end, you seem to pull it all together. What has created the turn in the tide, do you believe?
I think it's just the tough games we had to fight through in the early part of the year. We had to fight out some hell of a battles in the beginning of the season, which made us stronger, build our characters, gave us confidence. We had it going on in the last part of the season, and that's what it's all about. All the other times we start off with this team, we start off strong, we fail in the end. But this time we start off weak and we built up strong, and that's why we going to the Grey Cup.
And good luck to you there.
Yo, Dow, love it, baby.
There you go, Alondra Johnson of the Calgary Stampeders. They're going to the Cup. For all of you Ontario East, so long. Everybody in the West, stand by from Edmonton.